Welcome everybody to Plat Valorant episode 122. And I'm joined by some of my friends, you guys. Oh, Brent is here. Sideshow is here. Mimi's back. And of course, Curtis is doing the production. How are you guys feeling? What's the vibe in the room, Brent? How are you doing?
I'm lightheaded from screaming and leaning backwards.
Okay. That's good. Josh, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing all right. You know, I'm gearing up for lock-in. I've been, hard at work, nose to the grindstone. I've got some badminton to play later, so really I'm thinking about that, right? Rather than what we've got coming up.
Real athlete over here, huh?
Does the community know we moved the episode back so you could play badminton?
Oh yeah, that is why we're starting earlier, isn't it?
I mean, I like the fact that we started
We're
early.
starting earlier so Josh can go play badminton.
Yeah. I like that we start early.
It's an important bonding exercise that I have with my family, So it's
Right.
Do you get exiled from the community if you don't take part?
Yes, yeah.
Like
We're
a village
really
ritual.
strict on it here.
I like that there's just
Kicked out
been
of
years of work to like make you more American and like change you into being a better man and being an American man. You move back to the UK and you're eating only cheese and bread. You're playing badminton with the fellow old men in your village. You're taking a stroll out in the grass every morning. It's all this work for what, Josh?
What you've just said is,
Strolling in the
I'm
knolls.
now living my best life.
You're also just completely grayscale. Is there any color in the UK?
Yeah, hey mate, have you fucking heard of posters or art? By the way, you were just
All
in
my
a
stuff is still on a
padded
ship.
cell over there.
All of my stuff is still on a ship that's crossing the Atlantic. Once it gets
Oh,
here, I'll put it up
my
on the
son
wall.
took the Mayflower to
Okay.
America and he took all my shit. I don't have anything in my house anymore.
Okay,
Have you guys seen the picture of Josh that he posted on Instagram?
I saw him skateboarding.
I did not see
You didn't see Josh
skateboarding. I did not see you skateboarding.
It was a long board, actually, but that's fine.
The picture of you
No,
dressed
actually,
up
you got the details wrong, but that's fine. Yeah.
lives rent free in my fucking head.
What? I didn't see this.
You
What
look
image is
like
this?
Josh. You look like a schoolboy. You look like a British schoolboy.
Yeah, I do.
Good little
So-
lad.
Oh, it's so good.
It's just me wearing a very weird outfit.
This
yeah.
photo of you in the cow sweater. This is on the
It's the photo
Sideshow
from
Gaming
the Josh
Instagram.
Wilkinson emote.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean-
I gave my little sister my Instagram account, so she's uploading images of me looking like a dumbass and videos of me looking like a dumbass, which is why you've got me skateboarding and dressed in this. But there is a genuine, proper reason why I was dressed like this. I was dressed to go to badminton, and I didn't want to get my badminton shoes wet because then they were worse when they're on the court. So I was wearing my dress shoes, which is what I happened to be wearing. And then it was cold outside, so I wore a sweater over the top. So really, I'm dressed in sports attire, but with different shoes and a different.
Do you
top
Do you know
for
what a gym
practical
bag
purposes.
is, Josh?
Why would I invest in that? No, it's much easier to
Do you
just
not
put the
have
clothes
any
on.
bag in your house? It could just be a paper bag to bring your stuff down.
I
think
really
it's
enjoy.
necessary.
Could you show that the IG thing? I enjoy the comment from Mr. PTR. Maybe that's a CS:GO player. The outfit is really tied together by the lovely white leggings you have on, mate.
It's not been very sunny recently.
Christ. Dude, oh
Wow.
my, here comes
I haven't
that
seen this
boy
one.
on the longboard.
Holy shit.
I haven't skated
the
in like
maneuvers.
15 years. It wasn't an impressive display.
I'm impressed.
I thought it was pretty good. You
I'm
could have
impressed.
I
fallen
thought that was
over.
pretty insane.
This is
Yeah, I mean,
more
watch this one if
athleticism
you're
than-
impressed.
Oh,
I haven't seen this kind of athleticism out of you in years.
Yeah, well, you should see me at badminton. I'm hitting some shots you wouldn't believe.
Christ. Guys, announcement. You guys are the talent in Brazil.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Whoa, thank you for the
God,
opportunity,
thank you,
Wyatt. Thank you.
Yeah.
that's so kind. I'm
I'm
so
just
grateful for
determined.
this opportunity.
I hate the talent circle jerk. And
Yeah,
I
what
hate
about
it. I hate it when people. I just hate. I don't know. I don't like it as much.
No, Bren,
is-
I'm so happy you get this opportunity. It's such a big W. You're my favorite personality, and I love watching your streams. So you're like my
Yeah.
really good friend. So I'm so happy you're at
Smad.
the event. Yes.
Bren's essentially got too big for talent announcements because he doesn't need to farm the clout from VCT,
Yep,
his official
basically.
Twitter anymore.
Dude. Mimi is
It's
just
a good
the
group of
one
people.
two analysts. It's actually, Josh, I'm going to keep it real with you. It's pretty fucked up that you demanded a $20,000 day rate and they could only hire 2 analysts for the event because of it.
It is pretty fucked.
Yeah,
You've
but
done
it's
irreparable
part.
damage to the scene. This
As
is why
part of the
Ryan
20,000.
Central couldn't get hired. It's you.
That is fucked that you did that. I tried to tell him not to as well.
Agreed.
I tried to hold him
Yeah.
back.
No, don't pay me $20,000 a day too.
Oh, fuck.
Christ.
You'd think $20,000 would buy him at least one poster.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
You would.
I've invested it all. I'm creating a competitor to Plat Chat with Ryan. That was my deal, so that I could get his day rate.
All right, let's get into the shits. We actually have a decent amount to talk about here, given that there's real tournaments happening. There's real things happening again.
Yep.
So let's get into the big stuff. The new knife just got released. Oh my god, it's a new skin.
Dropped.
I can't wait to not spend my money. Josh
This
is
is
holding
cool,
up his
though.
little butter knife, little butter remnants on there.
Have you seen
Or
this?
cheese remnants. What?
You probably haven't seen this because it literally just got
I
posted.
did click on the Twitter link, so I did see it. I spoilered myself. I should have not actually. I should have had a real-time live reaction.
I haven't seen this, so this is a real-time live reaction from me.
Thoughts?
Wow, that's okay. Hey, react. That's
that was a cool
you're
reaction. That was a
opening
cool
your
pog
mouth.
face.
You're doing like a subtle pog face. Like, oh, now you're really.
Whoa,
pog.
now it's
Which
committed.
one is the real
Whoa.
emotion?
Dude,
Hog fish?
can really
I
get
don't
your
know
mouth
yet
wide.
because I haven't seen enough of it.
Whoa, this
You tell me a
what
little bit
that
about
mouth do? This guy is crazy. Josh, which reaction is the real you? Was it the mini pog or the big pog? Which
You need
one?
to sell me on it. You need to sell me on it.
I don't work for fucking
Okay.
Riot. I'm not selling you on this knife. I don't give a shit.
It's a revenue split knife. It's the It's the first
Josh,
instance.
you
of,
want to support the team.
It is the first instance of the
stuff.
teams getting, here's a 50-50 revenue split. Here's an item in the game.
Well, it's not the first instance because the Champions bundle worked like that as well.
First
The teams that
instance
were there,
for
but-
partnership teams.
But
like
it's
the
the
concept
first one
of
for like the common man. You don't have to qualify. You're just partnered and you get money from this.
yes.
Well, you say you don't have to qualify, but also everyone's qualified for this first event. So in the future, when they do this, you actually might have to qualify.
True.
I don't know.
But for this one,
Yeah.
free money.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to get.
Does it glow? Does it do something cool like the
yeah, I guess it
Champions
glows.
stuff?
I mean,
Does
you're not
it
seeing the video?
glow? I mean, it looks like it's glowing a little bit. So I was about to try to describe this for the audio listeners, but that's just impossible. There's an Omen, and he's holding a knife, and it kind of looks like shit. What is that knife in CS?
Xeno Hunter. Oh, it looks like the Ursus from CSGO or the Xeno Hunter in Valorant. It's the same animation where it's like the flippy, like the
Yeah.
end over end, and then you like kind of like twirl it over your hand when you pull it out, and it goes like. Hopefully that helped the audio.
I feel like I'm in the game right now. It's like the knife is in my hand. Yeah, and there's like a glowing ruby in the hilt.
I wanna
And
see the
it's
variants.
glowing. Whoa.
Even more breaking news, there's also variants. Curtis, can you pull up the tweet I put in the episode channel from Leo Faria, also known as John Riot? He's leaked that there are also variants. There's 4 different color waves, which is kind of
Do they
cool.
have pictures for it?
Yeah, he has
I hope
pictures.
there's a blurple one.
Sweet.
Oh my god, there's photos. So
By the way,
there's
this guy shouldn't be called John Riot. This guy should be called John Valorant because he's in charge of Valorant esports, isn't he? Like, there is actually a guy called John who's in charge of
Yeah.
esports
But
at Riot.
every executive at Riot is named John. It's a requirement. They just give them second names to differentiate. It's helpful.
Right. Except we've all made the second name Riot, so that doesn't actually help anyone.
No, the second name is John. This is John Riot. Parentheses Leo. Like
Right,
that's his
okay,
side
okay.
name.
so there's
It's,
a green one, there's a blue one, there's a red one, and there's a blurple one.
Purple.
Honestly, I think this is kind of an L for people that are going with all like the like VCT knives. Like if you're running like Champions Vandal and like Champions Phantom, you can't get the gold anymore. It's just like completely new colors. It's like just red waved, which
The
I don't
red
know. If,
fits though, doesn't
I
it?
don't know if I
Yeah,
like
this
that.
isn't
I guess the
Champions,
event
though.
is red.
But it's
Also the red one. The red one definitely fits.
So I guess each
red
one of
one
the 3 color waves is supposed to be
It's
for
just
the different
I don't know
leagues.
what's there's hail is striking the Platchat compound.
Wait a
right now.
minute.
We're under assault.
I think you're onto something.
Look at
Mimi.
each other like, are we under attack?
What?
What?
I think Mimi's onto something.
No,
I
Mimi's
think
not
they're
onto
Yeah,
from
so
anything.
look
each
at
different
VCT
league.
America's EMEA Pacific, and then the red one is for the event. So
Yeah.
it's like, wow, I love VCT America's. I pick green.
Oh.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
That's the idea behind it. Yeah.
So wait,
You
is
can see
VCT
that from the
Americas
banners,
always going to
don't
be this weird-looking green color? Like, if you want to support VCT Americas, or their theme color for this is going to be green moving forwards,
Look at
like
the
for the
banners.
whole year.
Look at the banners.
No, I know. I'm looking at the banners. What I'm saying is, I feel like it's unusual for them to stick you in a color palette for the entire year, especially when I'm not a big fan of that color palette. It's just a kind of lime
VCT
green.
EMEA one is
Josh is
pretty
getting
sick.
passionate about
The blue is sick.
This is so unlike it.
Yeah, this
Josh,
is very
would you
unlikely.
stop being a fan of a team if you didn't like the colors? Their colors? Like you watched an esport event, you were really impressed with the team, and then you saw their jerseys and their logo.
It's not that I wouldn't be a fan of them, but it would definitely make me not want to buy their merch. Yeah. I mean, if I was a fan and they've got dope merch as well, I'm much more likely to buy than if I've got a fan and they've got a steaming turd that they're wearing when they come out.
Aren't they going? Jesus Christ! Brendan's spilling Red Bull everywhere. But the thing, who was a fan of the Americas? Oh, I love VC. I'm a big fan of VCT Americas. I can't wait to rep
I can tell
that
you,
league everywhere.
Achilles is a fan of the Pacific region, and you will see that when it comes to lock-in. I
mean,
know that people like
yeah.
Yinsu and Tom are going to be fiending for the EMEA stuff.
Yeah, I
I
guess-
feel like maybe Americas is less likely because they're not considered the underdog region or whatever, even though EMEA have won everything anyway.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
the
not
only
everything, I
unbiased
suppose, but-
person in the scene.
You
I
know,
think
we've
that's
just
really-
got that.
Oh, you're
that
the only
alpha
unbiased
mentality.
one.
Chaos.
Yeah.
What?
Why are you giving me such sass and sarcasm?
The actual, what did they say? The watch party once we popped off about crew. The Gringos Amigos or something.
Yes.
Whatever I mean, that is just you. Just vamos Brazil the entire
that
way.
was
I'm sure you're
Connor.
fine with the green.
That was-
Yeah, I know that was the group of us, but that is
Yeah.
you. I mean, you're come to Brazil.
Yeah,
All
so
of Brazil, come to the Plat compound. That's why.
if there was a loud vandal, I would get a loud vandal or something.
It's
but I'm not gonna
green. It's loud. It's Brazilian.
No, it's not loud. It's Americas. I don't care about the Americas. I care about I care about good Valorant actually because I'm unbiased. So let's keep that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
By
been
the way,
so clear.
I'm just, we're trying to chat it up here. I'm trying to, just make sure we're steering the ship so the viewers get this sense of like there's nothing going on behind the scenes. It's just a regular, but it's fucking chaos. There's chaos all around me. The ship is sinking as we're trying to fix this Red Bull.
Drowning in Red Bull.
Yeah, there's too much. We're fucking going overboard. All right.
Let me just ask a simple question to those of you who buy skins.
We
which is
cannot
the
be on
three
this
of you.
topic for much longer.
Let's give
I
it
just
let's give
wanna
it
ask
40
what-
minutes.
A simple question. Give
The
him a simple question.
Karambit, the Champions Karambit, you'd have to take that out if you were going to run one of these. Is anyone buying this over the Champions Karambit? Because I
You'd
don't
have
see
to take
how I
that
would.
out if you're buying one of these.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, are you dual wielding knives?
They just
Hold on, you
released
rotate
favorites.
between knives.
You can rotate
You
now
set
in
all
game.
your knives as
You can-
favorites, or
yes.
Okay, wait. I have a fucking insight into the skin addict lifestyle. You buy different skin waves so that you can have like different, at least for me, different like monochromatic setups. Like I have like enough skins that I can mostly have all gold, or like all like purpley pink, or like all like I can do all blue based off the amount of skins I have, and then everything matches. So, like you pull out your knife and it looks like a classic, and it looks like your vandal, and all that.
think you might
and
have
this
a
gives you
problem?
options. No, I don't
You have
think
a
I have a
401k,
problem.
Mimi?
I do
you
actually.
helping for your
I don't. I have
retirement?
I don't have a 401k,
boss.
but I do have a Roth IRA. I have a full investment in it this year. I'm
Girl boss.
doing great. I'm ready for retirement, and I have some willy putty.
You hear
skins
that,
when
you
I play
fucking
Valorant.
broke boys? Girl boss. Guys, breaking news. This is big. Breaking news. I'm getting us off this fucking knife topic.
Please.
Also, breaking news. FaZe still haven't announced the roster. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. They're still waiting on the
You know, I
roster
love when
announcement.
orgs really invest into their teams and their players. This really makes me want to be a fan of FaZe. The mystery is just building so much hype around what their roster could be, and if I should be a fan of them or not. Great job, FaZe.
Actual fucking like staff being toddlers, throwing a tantrum, didn't get into tier 1, so we're just not going to announce anything. Like
Is that what's happening?
Oh, fuck knows. I don't know. But their company's worth absolute pennies now.
Can we pull up
They-
the
Why
FaZe
did
stock?
they
Can we check in on
tweet
that?
this?
They tweeted this instead of tweeting their roster.
But
Happy
also, they
retirement,
don't have a
Tom
fucking
Brady.
roster. George has reported that they're looking to try and sign Rossi, but they haven't presumably done it yet. I mean, Rossi was playing with a different team like 10 days ago trying to
Yeah.
qualify with a completely different roster. People thought they were going to play with Neptune, but I don't know what's happened to that. It's like a locked door, but I don't think it's locked because there's some kind of crazy mystery inside. I think it's complete fucking apathy from
Hey,
the
hold
Org's
up.
perspective.
Rossi
They only just
tweeted-
announced their manager that's been working with them for months.
Rossi tweeted a contract signing of 19 hours ago, so it's confirmed. All good. No worries on the FaZe camp. We know they're 5. It's gonna be
Wonderful.
Rossi.
Just leave it to your players to announce everything. Don't give them
Yep.
any level of support. You're one of the biggest organizations in terms of clout and followership ever, but don't even bother.
Well, they've got 6 hours, right? They have like 5 or 6 hours. They can still make the announcement in time. We can find out who else is on the team aside from Baby Bay and Poised, according to VLR, which I'm assuming Dicey and Superman will also be there, and then Rossi. That would definitely make sense.
I mean, it just looks like, from the outside, it just looks like the organization is falling apart at the seams. They just haven't done anything the whole offseason, didn't make any moves at all, just got in by virtue of being a large org that did well last year. The org itself is absolutely floundering. I mean, they're worth 82 cents. That's the stock price. I mean, not the entire company, obviously, but the stock price is 82 cents. And actually, the whole company might be headed that way pretty shortly because they are going down.
Guys,
So-
not financial advice, but short phase.
It's not. It doesn't look good.
I mean, you could buy the dip right now, but you really could buy.
Not
We're at
financial
all-time
advice. Also, don't
lows.
buy the dip.
FaZe Holding Incorporated. Yeah, that's looking rough. That stock chart. For the audio listeners, it briefly went up in I want to say, what is that? Maybe, yeah, that's August 2022. The FaZe stock was peaking at an all-time high. Can you go to that all-time high there, Kurt? At $20.08. That was in early August of 2022. And in short form, as of February 1st, it's at 82 cents. So
But also,
that is
the
a
reason-
significant decline.
One of the reasons that massive cliff face that's there is as soon as the bigwigs at FaZe could sell all of their stock. And there was a report that came out saying that they all intended to basically just sell off whatever they had and try and get out of the amount of money that they had in it. And then as soon as that leaked, everyone started selling, and it's just been absolutely at the bottom. They've no way of making their revenue work. It's just it looks absolutely dire from that perspective. They took a large gamble and it has
What does this
fallen
mean
over.
for the upcoming matchup?
Well, hold on. We are gonna. By the way, we are gonna do predictions after this, so we can talk about the matchup then. But I do want to talk about how this may be affecting the team, which is essentially what we're saying. But I guess it's more specific. I'll leave G2 out of it for now. But how do you guys feel like this is affecting the FaZe team? Because in my brain, it is making me lose confidence. Even though I have a lot of confidence in the players that they had previously, I feel like the last second signing of Rossi, what it seems to be, it's just quite strange. They had so much time. And I also don't even really necessarily understand why they felt the need to get rid of Flya in the first place. Was that just... Well, what was that? Was there anybody know? Because he seemed pretty good to me. I don't know if there's...
I don't even know whether that was the org's choice. I have no idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
did they even make like a substantial announcement about that? I don't even remember why if he left or if he got dropped. Because I agree, I felt like FaZe as it was really solid, and I thought their plan going into this year was just to keep the roster, which is why they kept players like Baby Bay signed, like Dicey signed, who I'm sure would have had offers if they went elsewhere. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's so
don't-
weird.
I don't get it. And I also feel like it's the kind of thing where it doesn't look great for the organization being able to, make it to a tier 1 level, even if they won Ascension. Their actual status as an org looks so dodgy right now that if it didn't, unless it drastically changes, which it obviously could within the next 10 months, by the time they got to a position where they would be included in a partnership system, all of these things are getting okayed by Riot anyway. So it just looks so strange from the outside perspective. But the mad part is the roster does not look bad. I missed the tweet from George, and so I was heading into yesterday thinking, I don't even know who their 5th player was. But when when I saw the report from George Geddes that Rossi was going to be signed, I think that's a great replacement. I mean, Rossi was playing really well in LCQ. He's been playing a lot of the like flex stuff where he would slot into the roster nicely. There's no role overlap or anything like that. The only problem is that Rossi can have only been scrimming with them for like the last week, presumably, because he was playing with a different team before that, trying to get through. It's not like the Nation was the most serious attempt ever, but they had a really good chance of being a team that was in Challengers.
Yeah, definitely.
It's weird for me too, because I'm wondering, like, Kurt pulled it up a second ago, but like half their roster, besides pretty much Baby was set as restricted free agents, but the only one that actually left FaZe was Flya. So I'm wondering if they were just like keeping super high like buyouts on these players or preventing other orgs from getting them, because it really does seem like I know there were rumors that teams were looking at players. Like I know for a fact there was rumors of people trying to pick up Superman and stuff, but none of that ever went through. I don't know if that was FaZe keeping these players or just other orgs not working. It all seems so weird to me that we've just heard nothing about this team.
Remember as well that when Sentinels were looking to get Raucus was a restricted, free agent that was still on like a player contract with FaZe at the time. And all of the rumblings about that was that, the buyout was something that was blockading the move officially to Sentinels. And so I think it's entirely possible, your theory, that FaZe is just keeping people on extraordinary buyouts and overvaluing their players to the point where they just can't go elsewhere. And then you end up just having to run it back with the exact same roster. I would not be surprised in the slightest.
It almost feels like they were like praying. Either someone is gonna like pay our ridiculous buyout and we're gonna be able to have a little bit more financial solvency, or we're gonna just keep our players in jail and hope we get into challengers next year and just see what happens. And I guess the latter has happened, if my theory holds any merit.
Yeah, Kurt, could you show that Flya tweet again really quick if you had that pulled up? Because that was the first time I had seen that. It was just a tweet about his departure from FaZe. He just said, with news that FaZe Clan was declined Valorant partnership, they've allowed me to seek new opportunities as a restricted free agent. I'm open to all partnership teams in NA. Y'all buying that? Are we we're just going to take that at face value? That basically they were declined partnership, and they said, okay, you can.
Well, restricted free agent means that he's still signed under FaZe.
Right.
So it's still under like the FaZe
contract. And that means
contract,
that teams would presumably still have to pay something to get him out of restricted free agency.
I just don't understand why. I just don't. I just don't know why they would get rid of him. I thought he was pretty nasty when they were last playing with him. I thought that team of 5 was good. I don't really think they needed to make changes. I felt like they were improving. Flya seemed like a good talent who still had more, like upwards trajectory to go towards on his path. I just don't really see the point of that move. I don't think Rossi, is like some massive upgrade to Flya.
I always liked Rossi's performance previously though, and I think that we only have like one tournament to go off, or at least that's the only tournament that I've seen Rossi playing recently, but he's looked pretty good, and with a fairly recent move as well to the flex position, or like the flex initiator position, instead of being on full-time smokes, and the fact that he used to bring like an IGLing presence to the team as well, which might complement Poise quite nicely. I think this gives me more confidence in the team. Like I really like the pickup in terms of just the roster, but the fact that they can't have been playing together for very long, and the fact there's so much instability from the outside around the organization, how much of that actually permeates the Valorant division is up in the air. But it's just, if this had been done months ago, I would be on the FaZe train, but I'm not, because it literally hasn't even been announced yet.
I think it's interesting to like parallel this team's trajectory with the Guard, because at the end of last year they were in very similar circumstances where they like are the two kind of like tier 2-ish teams that have really made a rise, are like both a step away from qualifying to champions at LCQ, and then kind of go off the map for a bit in the offseason. It seems like both rosters might disintegrate, but then both stay together. And for the Guard, they like doubled down on like continuing to invest in like the content and like building up the brand for this team and like making them play in I guess it was just a one off-season tournament, but still kind of keeping that presence for the brand. Whereas FaZe, after putting so much into this team for so long, like really investing in their Valorant stuff, just kind of lets it fall to the wayside, and now they get reinvited. The path continues to parallel, but we still know nothing about this team and don't really know what to expect from the roster. It's just, it's kind of sad to me because I think these players deserve better because they're.
It just looks like
really,
they fucking
really
gave up in September. It looks like they got told, well, you're not getting into tier 1, and they just went, nah, and just gave up, and then that was it. That's why I said it's like toddlers throwing their toys out of the pram. That's what it feels like.
The pram. Bren, has this soured the taste in your mouth? And also, what is a pram?
I didn't have any taste regarding FaZe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's
impartial
a pram.
observer.
Yeah.
The pram, yes.
Pram. Is that not an American word?
No.
We call it a stroller.
You guys were talking about shoes the other day. I was tapped in to the stream.
On Valheim?
Yeah, what was the Gloucester term for
like your shoes that you'd wear to PE?
Yeah.
Daps.
Daps. And then Josh was like, we called them plimsolls or whatever the fuck.
Well,
was that?
we called them pumps, but pumps in the US are like shoes with a heel. So,
right. Like that.
So, exactly. But that's the US version, whereas in the UK we would call plimsolls. So what the? I mean, these are just pumps like a gas pump.
Damn.
What have you typed?
Y'all got
Daps
the new
UK.
Plimsoll ones? Daps UK as a CS:GO player.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Just some standard shoes. All right. Let's get into the actual predictions. I think FaZe is the first one. Actually, it's not the first one. Guys, who's winning the Super Bowl?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's winning.
Is he retired?
He's also not in the
FaZe
Super
just
Bowl.
tweeted about it.
Regardless, yeah, FaZe
FaZe
just made
let
sure
us
to
know.
tweet. That is why is FaZe tweeting that Tom Brady is retiring? They're really
retiring again.
I guess so.
He was on my, the Twitter change that they made where like everything's the For You page. I got pushed like a very like intimate video of Tom Brady taking a selfie video of himself, like talking. Yeah, this one. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I didn't listen to it, but I'd love reading the comments on this because you just get absolute NPC behavior. And people are like, dude, see you next year. And there's just responses to it being like, can't you see in his eyes the fire is dead? The passion is gone.
Dude, I did people.
How can you tell this from a selfie video? Like, he doesn't know you like that, little bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, how can you tell this?
Stop staring deeply into Tom's eyes like that.
what?
What are you doing?
I bet if I go on like Facebook right now and look at my mom's friends, those are the people making those comments because like I grew up in Wisconsin and this guy was like a fucking hero where I'm from for like being like, oh, go Pack, go! He did so much for the Green Bay Packers. This guy is our goat, and like everyone's mom freaked out for him. So honestly, really tragic to see Tom Brady go. Also, go Birds! The Eagles are winning the Super Bowl. Grease the polls.
Who's in the
I'm
Super
going
Bowl?
Grease the polls.
It's the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Oh.
Old Patty. Who you taking, huh? I'm going with the Eagles.
I would like the Eagles to win.
Okay, 3 on the Eagles. Josh,
The Eagles
you're
are
an
like
American
the Philadelphia
football
Fusion
expert.
in real life.
I have the exact same prediction for the Super Bowl as I have for the first game of FaZe G2, which you'll see in a sec.
What?
Oh, that's
So,
what?
aren't they greasing the poles in Philadelphia so they don't destroy the city if they lose or something like that?
Yeah.
So they always grease the poles. It's generally when they win. There's a tradition here where people climb telephone poles downtown or like streetlights and shit and just climb on everything. Like a woman climbed a bus stop and fell through when they won on Sunday. I don't know. There's just always videos of people on top of poles. People like try and like climb City Hall in Center City. It's always really entertaining. Philadelphia is not a real place, and I fucking love it for that because just anytime we win or lose at a sports game, it's just an excuse for anarchy. It's awesome.
I better see you out on the streets. I better catch you in a
If the
viral
Eagles win the
Twitter
Super
video
Bowl,
breaking something.
I will climb a pole in Sao Paulo. I'll get on top of a streetlight in Sao Paulo if they fucking win. All good.
You won't look out of place. I think it's carnival time, isn't it?
Oh, okay, fitting.
Hell yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
So you think I'm
It is at some point.
multicultured?
I don't know.
I'm an American motherfucker. All right, let's get into the match predictions. First up, baby. FaZe G2. Match of the week. First one. Oh, there we go.
Boom.
FaZe versus G2.
Question mark.
Josh has picked question mark. I actually switched mine to G2. I switched it like, I don't know. I just thought it was in time. It was like yesterday or something. It was like yesterday morning.
So you on the G2.
I'll switch it.
That's fine. I picked G2. Bren picked FaZe.
Yeah.
Mimi picked FaZe. Josh, why is yours a question mark? You can't be in the middle. Ooh, I don't know.
I'm not in the middle. I think it's a fucking disgrace that FaZe haven't announced their fucking roster before the game even begins. I think it's absurd. I think everyone should be coming into this with a big old question mark because it's just silly. Look at the VLR page. There's 2 players playing against 5. It just beggars belief. I don't know. It makes no sense. So this is the match of the week, except that I feel like all of the anything that you can think about this game is just removed from it, sucked out of it a little bit, because FaZe have abandoned their squad by the wayside and they're having to hitchhike their way to the match. I think the roster for FaZe looks fairly good, but I can't predict for a team that literally hasn't even got a roster together or like signed the contract for their player maybe 24 hours before their match, if we're to believe what Rossi is tweeting on Twitter via a GIF emote like fucking thing. So I've gone for the stats for
baby.
G2, but I think the question mark makes more sense.
Okay.
Oh, so you're going with G2?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Kurt said you need to pick a team for the stats that we're tracking.
Yeah.
So I said G2. I can't I think FaZe are probably going to be the better team with this roster if they've played for a significant period of time and they have any synergy together. But it's just stupid to be confidently predding a team, I think, where you don't know which 5-player roster they have. And if you think you do, you're banking on it being a guy that posted a meme 24 hours before their match.
Mistake number 1.
Signing a contract.
Taking predictions seriously. Josh Wilkinson, negative points for that one. Mistake number 2, playing badminton. Weak.
It's a fun game.
Weak sport.
That badminton's awesome. Don't fuck with
I mean,
badminton.
actually, yeah.
It has the fastest shot.
Not physical.
It has the
Ball
fastest
is
shot in
tiny.
racket sports.
Weak
Bullshit.
fucking sport.
Yeah.
Mistake number 2,
Fastest shot in
Wilkinson.
racket
Go fucking
sports.
wrestle with your family instead or something.
More minus points. Mistake number 3, doubting Baby Bay. Baby Bay, he's up until 5 a.m. Just got done fucking, and now he's going to absolutely fuck in this G2 match. He's going to be playing Jet. Chamber meta's gone.
Wow.
Doesn't really bode well for Dicey, I'm not going to lie.
Sexual stamina.
Baby Bay on the Jet. Top fucking performer. Look at this guy. Top stallion. Chiseled jawline. He's got a fucking top stallion. He's got the jawline for it. He's looking good.
Stallion.
He's looking good. He's feeling good. Probably going to be on the Jet. And also, I fucking don't know what to go for in this. I'm basically going off of the guard. What is this?
Baby Bay says, "My legs are dead. Can't walking!" Exclamation mark. So he's been.
See, that's a good thing for the team. That means he's going to be
chair.
practicing more.
Yeah,
he's going to be focusing more.
up.
He's going to be in his chair, dialed in. And you know what? If I've learned one thing, it's that sometimes you have to take a gamble. It's that sometimes you have to take a risk, and you have to send it on a team that you have no fucking clue who's on their roster. I think Baby Bay and Dicey will be there, and I think they're pretty good. I think Rossi will be there, and I think he's a good substitution for Flya. Is Superman still on the team? I don't know. Probably. It'll be entertaining to watch. So, yeah, go FaZe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll also add real quick.
Yeah, go.
At the Tarek event,
shit
the
off.
fucking guard players, they got asked who do they think the best teams and challengers are, and G2 didn't make the list. I don't think FaZe did either, but G2 didn't make the list.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
listen, if this were like a week 3 match onward, I will probably be going with FaZe, but it's week 1, and what is happening with FaZe? I'm just going to assume that G2 have been practicing with this roster for a while now, at least a month, right? And what the fuck is happening with FaZe? I don't know. Their players are great, and I believe in the core of that team, but and also, it's possible reading too much into, or just taking too much out of the org being shit and thinking that'll affect the team more than it actually will. but it's hard to ignore the air of just chaos and uncertainty around the team. But I do think that even if they do lose this match, I think they'll bounce back after after a couple weeks. I still think FaZe are going to be one of the top teams with a shot of qualifying. I think, unless things go super wrong. But for now, I'm going with G2. It's week 1, so I'm going with G2. They don't have a fucking team announced. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. The Guard versus Disguised Toast. And we have all gone with The Guard on this one, which is unsurprising. I think there's going to be a lot of games where we all go for the same team on this week. Honestly, seems like a lot of one-sided.
I don't think this is a guarantee. I think there is some chance of like close game, upset potential here. I think Disguised Toast team is one of the ones that should be punching upwards, and I don't think it's impossible that they take away this game. I think Guard are going to be one of the favorites, a minimum top 3 team this season, but that doesn't mean they're going to win every single one of their games. And I think, week 1 against a team that's on a bit of a heater, that's had a bit more time to play together, I think there's a chance here.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with Disguise when I was watching in the qualifiers. Clear especially was a player that I hadn't known at all before seeing him in the qualifier into Challengers, and I thought he looked really incredible. I think this team is really solid, but at the same time, Guard playing at that Ludwig event just impressed me so much. Their coordination is incredible. Trent is again looking like he's hitting a new height. I think Texas fit into the roster really well. I'm pretty sure they're boot camping as well. I don't know. I think it's fair to say that Guard is just the fair favorite for this matchup, but just like most Valorant matches, I would give maybe a 30% chance of an upset, but
the Bala minimum.
Yeah, the Bala minimum
rule.
I think should be hit here. But I think because it is a minimum, I think this should be a Plat guarantee. I think this is a very fair bet. Traditionally we love the Guard here.
No.
It's very reasonable guarantee to make.
She wants the clout.
Trolling.
This isn't a Plat check guarantee.
I don't need that. This is
it's not
a good, honest matchup that should go the way.
This is just not a Plat check guarantee.
I would put Guard at heavy favorites.
I mean, they're definitely they're definitely the favorites, but like Josh said, Disguised are one of the teams that can definitely punch up.
We've done some utter trolling with the Plat check guarantee. We've got to get out. We've got to get out.
We're not unanimous. We're not unanimous. We're not unanimous.
There are other games here that are definitely more Plat check guarantees. I think because there's no way that
the guarantee is with 100% certainty. All of us are like, yeah, this team is going to win.
Not 100%. A good shot.
Yeah, I'm not. I think Disguise could win this game.
We would each bet our most valuable possessions
Wyatt?
On that match.
I would never do that on a Valorant game.
Neither would I.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah. I'm rolling with the idea.
Yeah, go push the button.
We've got.
Wait, what button?
What?
No!
It's not a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee.
It's just not a guarantee.
No, that's a guarantee. That's an
It's
official
just
guarantee.
guarantee.
Screenshot it, put it on Reddit.
Look at our
Done and
faces.
dusted.
We've been trolled by the
We're gonna
producer.
look really smart, guys. No, trust me, we're gonna look really smart when we get this
not
right.
a guarantee. Eat my ass. We're moving on to TSM versus Mad Lions. Number 3. Formerly Dark Ratio. And okay, we have 3 going for TSM, which are myself, Bren, and the Diabolical Feline. Josh, you have gone with Mad Lions. Explain yourself.
Yeah. I think that despite me talking about TSM being a gatekeeper team, I think that week 1, there's going to be much more, up and down stuff than people are going to be expecting. And I think TSM definitely showed some serious gaps in their gameplay when we were watching them at the Ludwig Tarek thing. They also hit some big, high moments where they looked really impressive too, but they don't look like an untouchable team. I disagreed with where we ranked them overall anyway. I don't know where we ended up ranking them, 4th or something, but I was thinking about them being more of middle of the pack, down at 7th, something like that, 6th, 7th. So I really think that this is one where it's actually the borderline between the 2 tiers. If Dark Ratio are playing well and they can have a game where they're on and they catch TSM at a bit of a slump, this is a good punt of an upset, I think. TSM should probably still be considered the favorites heading into this, but I think it's very tough to even call certain teams like a tier above when we haven't seen them compete against each other yet. That was our gut feeling, right, heading into the league, but we don't actually have match data to necessarily support that because the TSM guys played against, just a totally different crop of teams, some of which hadn't really been scrimming or anything that much. So I'm feeling decent. I think there's a good shot of this being an upset.
Okay. That makes sense, but I disagree. I mean, I think I feel like Dark Ratio I disagree with everything on this list, by the way. That power ranking sucks. Also,
That's my one.
I disagree with everything on that list.
That's my list.
And the list we did.
That's the list we did.
I disagree with all of them. Point being, I think that Dark Ratio are just I feel like they're the kind of tier of team that, I mean, I guess this is kind of counter what you were saying. We don't exactly know how to place them, but at least from history and when I've seen some of the guys on TSM play against teams of at least where we've mostly seen Dark Ratio kind of be tiered, I feel like that's the kind of level that guys like GMD and Hazed, the experienced players that are super consistent, can really just snack on those teams that are
they do
more prone to making the
well,
little mistakes. Like those consistent, rock solid guys just have a tendency to feast on those kind of teams. And I think that they'll really, TSM just have the experience. Those guys have the experience to be able to expose those little mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. I think just like even within that last event we watched of these guys, the way that they were improving in between matchups and making adaptations really quickly was really impressive. I think Hazed is always good at kind of finding that fast improvement with teams. I've always really liked him as a caller. But I would say this has a higher chance of upset, at least in my opinion, than the last match we talked about. Because I think that Mad Lions is a team that definitely on that tier list was very underrated, and I think a lot of people have generally underrated coming into this tournament. I mean, they've been like playing forever as a core in tier 2. I think Will's integration into the roster has worked really well, and I was impressed with them when they were playing in the qualifier. I think TSM is still a pretty fair favorite in this one, but I wouldn't advocate for a guarantee. I wouldn't advocate for this one being like a very clear, like 100% TSM is going to win this whatsoever.
I agree with all that. Especially, that's the main thing I was thinking of was the improvements that they made at the Ludwig Tarek event, week on week or whatever it was, match on match, not week on week. The event was 2 days, but I would say that they are the favorites in this one. I can't really comment on how much of an upset it would be for Mad Lions Dark Ratio to win because I didn't watch too many of the games prior, but I'm just going with what I know, which is TSM.
Yeah, that is fair. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to call exactly. We haven't seen a ton of either of these teams so far in the year. But all right, let's move on. Breakthrough versus Oxygen Esports. And we have all gone with Breakthrough. This is also not a guarantee. This is definitely not a guarantee.
No.
Certainly not.
I'm surprised we all went with Breakthrough, actually. But
Yeah.
I suppose it does make sense because I would consider them the favorites here. I think they're the team that looks like they've got the most pieces that could do damage in the entirety of challenges too. But there is no way that this is guaranteed.
No, absolutely no way. Both of these teams made it through the qualifiers. For me, Breakthrough, just comparing the two teams, they have the experience diff and they have the player quality diff. But in saying that, it's not like some extreme margin. But they do have great players on this team that have played a lot of games. And Proto and Brock both were really good on Ghost last year. And I still think Fly was really good on FaZe as well. Thief has hung around for a super long time as a really solid tier 2 player with really strong mechanics. I haven't watched a whole lot of Sim. Can't say I'm super familiar with his game. What's the fucking Shaq name? Or whatever. I was unfamiliar with his game, but I am unfamiliar with his game to the level of the other guys. But those other four, and then comparing it to the roster of Oxygen, aside from Scuba, who is the fucking GOAT, I just think they kind of kind of diff them in those respects. But how do you guys feel?
I flipped a coin for this match.
Oh, okay.
So
this is definitely not a Plat chat guarantee.
I'm ignorant. I am
not...
so fucking ignorant of everything relating to NA Tier 2. I'm pretty much everything. I have been locked in a Brazil VOD dungeon every morning for the past 3 weeks. I don't know. All I know is, dude, you don't know what pain is until you're scouring for like a 720p VOD of XMS playing on a team alone. And you're just only looking for what he's doing in the team, and the observing isn't on him, and I'm basically just trying to decipher through the minimap and sound cues what he's doing at a given moment in time. You haven't known pain until that moment, so I flipped a coin for this. I'm gonna get another Red Bull.
Okay.
That's valid. This was basically just a coin flip for me too. I am also fairly unaware of these guys' games. I watched a little bit of Breakthrough in their qualifying run, but I, to be honest, haven't watched a lot of Oxygen. I agree that Scuba, very good player. Randy Savage is also a guy in Tier 2 that I've liked a lot of what he's doing. I think this roster has potential, but I think Breakthrough, I would say, probably wins in the player quality department. I really like that core of a Proto and Brock, so I'd probably favor them here, but I don't know. Not a guarantee.
Any final? I want to wrap
You
this
guys
one up,
gave some
Josh.
great analysis for this.
Yeah, this was really insightful, I think.
No, I already spoke about this game. No, I just like the Breakthrough squad. I think that they've got better players that can do more damage over the course of the season.
Well,
right.
I think we all provided a lot of really insightful
Do you have any
stuff.
takes
You
on
guys
this
can
one,
all be
Kurt?
really prepared for this.
I don't know why Oxygen uses a black background for their logo. It's kind of awkward, in my opinion. That's my only thought process.
All right, on to the next
point.
one.
Does that say 1778? Is that when they were founded?
Yeah. 1773.
Wait, what?
Dude,
Holy shit, they
wait,
predate America.
1773. Damn, that's crazy.
That's insane.
They predate America.
What the
Esports
fuck is
hasn't been around
that?
that long.
Thank you, Bren.
It's owned by
They're
Robert
New
Kraft.
England's premier esports organization.
Sweet. All right.
That's so cool.
Next up, the Shopify Rebellion versus formerly Squirtle Squad, now the Turtle Troops. We have all gone with the Shopify Rebellion. All four of us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, dare I say, this might be the Plat Chat guarantee. I think it's either this one, it might be this one and the final game, but I think this one is actually a fair Plat Chat guarantee.
Yeah, I think it seemed like Turtle Troop. Oh, by the way, Turtle Troop is a fantastic way of pivoting away from Squirtle Squad.
Yeah,
because they weren't allowed to use Squirtle, and also their new logo with like the turtle but as a helmet is fantastic too. I don't know who did the logo design or whatever for them, but it looks good. It's captured the same whimsical spirit as Squirtle Squad. I mean, how can you not like that? That's superb. It works at any resolution. It's obvious what it is. It embodies both parts of their name. I don't want them to get signed.
It works at any resolution.
Yeah,
You're coming out with some flaming hot
just a good
takes
logo.
this week,
It's just a good fucking logo. I like it, and I wish that one of us had picked them. But I think they're the heavy underdogs. I feel like looking at Shopify Rebellion, they should be able to put down teams like this at a fairly decent level, rate of consistency. They just have enough quality, enough experience, and enough time together that they should be able to beat teams like this that are more on the come up. And it seemed like Turtle Troop went on a bit of a spree towards their qualifying run. I don't know whether they're going to be able to repeat that level of performance. Like, for example, consistently being able to, I think they 2-0'd OR Esports, didn't they? And some other teams around there, like YFP, that team that had just beaten NSIC, I think. So, it's like a good crop of teams that they beat, but it feels more like they went on a hot run. I don't necessarily know whether they're going to be able to keep that up.
I just can never support Turtle Troop after we did Smurfed in a 5-stack against me in ranked once on a gold account. I can't forgive that.
Dude,
so
that's fucked up.
I think that just shows the lack of morals and ethics from like top to bottom. So I can't support that team.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty.
I don't
reasonable.
know. I don't feel like this is a guarantee. I think that Squirtle Squad, or whatever they're called now, Turtle Troop,
Don't say it
they have a
dismissive.
lot of
Don't disrespect them like that.
I'm
Whatever
sorry,
they're
Turtle Troop.
called.
The Turtle Troop.
That's the
I
Turtle
think they
Troop
have
you're talking
players
about.
that have been really underrated in Tier 2. I think that they have kind of found something together that has been working pretty well. Like, these are all players that, like, I know that I have been impressed with on previous teams in the past and have been playing together for quite a while. We have not seen new Shopify yet with Vic. Am I capping about that? I think they might have played in, like, one event, but
I
we
think they
haven't
did
seen a
play in
lot of
something.
them. And I
They
think
played
it is,
in that shitty event where there was like bans on either side. It was the freeze out tournament.
yeah. The freeze out. I don't know. I just feel like without having seen what Shopify looks like these days, I'm assuming it's pretty good. It should be pretty good. Like, this team was really solid in the past. I think Vic is a good player and a good replacement for who they lost. But
I saw some
don't know if
comments
it's
on the
guaranteed.
I saw some comments on the tier list being like, wow, how are Shopify that high up? B-Dog's gonna not be playing Chamber. This team is gonna look so much weaker. And I really disagree with that. I feel like B-Dog's Jet was pretty nasty. I think he's gonna be adapting to it perfectly fine. I don't think he was just a Chamber one trick, even though what he did with Chamber in the last season was superb. I think he's still gonna be like a top rated player. And I feel like the level of skill that B-Dog showed on a consistent basis, he wasn't even that much like up or down. He was just very consistently delivering really strong performances in almost every match he played. I think that is going to be enough to just carry them over the line, because I just don't see there being enough players able to step up on Turtle Troop to shut a player like him down from getting, 20 frags a game.
Yeah, B-Dog being a Chamber 1 trick is super cap. He's a very versatile player, and that's one of the most attractive things about him as a player, is that he can play many different agents. He's a really strong AWPer, consistent rifler. He can entry when they need him to. He can be that passive lockdown AWP who's really consistent at getting the crucial, I don't want to say like the basic kills, but like the essential kills to win a round. He's really good in those moments. B-Dog is super talented. I also, just Shopify in general, I think they're one of the teams that they don't really get upset. They lose to the teams that are better than them, and they beat the teams that are worse than them. And I felt like they did that all of last year. They just struggled to punch up when it got deeper in the tournaments, and they were playing against the tier 1 NA teams, you know? But I don't really think they're not a team that was like,
They were very
wishy-washy, going up and down.
Yeah, they were super
Yeah,
consistent.
they're consistent. I feel like these are the kind of games they win. I think this is a Plat Chat guarantee. Does any dissenters?
I was
dissenter?
the only dissenter. And I'm thinking now that at the same time, I agree with everything you guys are saying about Shopify. I have no qualms about Shopify. I think this team is going to be really good. The only reason that I'm like hesitant to guarantee it is like it's the first match back. It's their first official. It's this Turtle Troop team who has been playing a hell of a lot and I think doing really well. I think Governor is always a player who can kind of punch up and kind of meet that matchup against B-Dog if he's playing right. But at the same time, if like B-Dog and Mata are on the same form they were at the end of last year, like this match should just be easy, wipe it up, it's over. I want to give some credit to Turtle Troop, but I also think that I will concede that this should probably be, if there is going to be a Plat Check guarantee, it should be this match.
All right. Real Plat Chat guarantee, not like the fake Plat Chat guarantee. That's not a Plat Chat guarantee. One last match, M80 versus OR Esports or Esports. I had people messaging me, dude, it's pronounced, don't care. Or OR Esports, or I don't do something like that. M80 are winning. That's all that matters. M80 are probably winning this game. We have all gone with M80. Okay?
Yeah.
Is this also a Plat Chat guarantee?
Yes, absolutely.
I think this one
fucking M80
is
Canadian
too.
God Squad. Everyone on this team is so good. You get the fucking Ghost Gaming Core. You get Ewan Xander. Everyone on this team is excellent individual players. Like some of my favorite players that like didn't make it into franchising from last year. I have a ton of faith in this squad. And or Sports, I'm gonna be honest, they didn't impress me that crazily in the qualifier. I think this is an easy peasy lemon squeezy Plat Chat guarantee for Matey Esports.
Yeah, I think if this Plat Chat guarantee gets upset, that will be a big knock to M80 as well, and the faith that people have in them, like doing super well, because people have them like as being one of their favorites winning Ascension as well at this point. Yeah. You know, they're in that group of teams that people are talking about. So Listen, if we fail the Plat check guarantee, we're in good company because I assume everybody else is assuming that M80 are going to win this game. This isn't just us going out on a limb.
Yeah. No, I would say it's a guarantee.
Yeah, no, or you have some good players, but they have a couple of good talents. But even those good talents, these guys just, they're too good. M80 are way too stacked. Like, even if, they should just, I mean,
I think on
the
paper,
team
this
so
is
stacked.
the most stacked roster in tier 2.
On paper,
in my
yeah, I
opinion.
think
on
I think
paper,
so.
yeah.
I think you can argue that guard is more of a favorite than them based off like how well they play as like more in the sum of the parts or whatever the hell the thing that you're supposed to say is. But like as just like a core of the potential this team has, M80 is the team that excites me the most. I cannot wait to watch these guys play. I think they're going to be really, really good.
Yeah. And we don't have to wait long to see these games. They're actually going to start later today with the FaZe G2 game. So the season is...
If FaZe turn up.
Yeah, if they've got 5 players. So, NA finally kicking off. The season is kicking off. And then we have Brazil, the lock-in event coming up soon. We're going to talk about that, baby. We're going to talk about all of the matches of lock-in, and we're going to tier list them.
Tier list the best matches.
Yeah, which matches are going to be the best?
Entertainment value.
Well, I think the
Whatever you
criteria can be... I mean, I think the main criteria is entertainment value and quality of the game.
Okay.
I think those are the 2 criteria really here, right? And so we've got all the matchups here. Now, some of these are just guaranteed to be wrong. There will be some games that are just going to be closer than we thought and will be entertaining. And there will be some games that are just going to be a blowout and you won't see it coming, like Koi NRG or something. That's just going to be a 2-0 and one of the teams gets smoked. But let's give it a shot, huh? We can try our best here. Do you
want to start chronologically, or do you want to try and pick out the S and the F and then work the middle? I feel like S and F are easy, but the middle ones
I'm just going to work in order here.
All right.
Because my brain is small, and if we go jump around, I'm going to get really confused. So let's start. We have 100 Thieves versus Edward Gaming. I'm going to give that a solid F tier.
No. That's not an
I'm
S
sick of you guys.
game.
I'm
inclined to agree,
man. It's going to be bad. 100 Thieves are going to smoke them.
Yeah, this is not going to be a close game.
They're going to, Stellar's not even going to play. Mike is going to play, and they're going to smoke them. It's going to be boring. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, I want to advocate for C tier. I think that EDG has gotten worse since the last time we saw this team play. I think 100 Thieves has gotten way, 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 way better, and 100 Thieves looks insane. I think 100 Thieves should stomp them, but I think there will be a modicum of silliness. Maybe EDG pulls out a crazy wacky comp. Maybe Kong hits like a couple crazy clips and makes it a little bit close. I think there's enough room for silliness and entertainment that it'll be C tier. It's not going to be like a long, beautiful cinematic movie. What it's going to be is like you go and you watch a trashy TV show. You like watch like 1,000 Pound Sisters on TLC, and you're like, wow, this is like, this is what I want. I feel ashamed for enjoying this, but it's solid and it's enjoyable.
There's no way
content.
that you can't put this on the same tier as Foot versus RRQ. You just can't.
Okay, then we
It's a
won't.
tier
That is a
above.
game
It's a
one.
tier above. It's a
Let me
C
ask
tier
you a
game.
question. Would you guys rather watch this game or 1,000 Pound Sisters? Because I would rather watch that show.
I would
than this
rather
game.
watch this game.
Matter of fact, I'm going to say right now, I'm just not going to watch this game. That's
No,
how little I
this is
care
gonna
about this
be-
game.
This is
I
going to
don't
be an
give a shit.
entertaining game.
No,
I'm not
Josh,
watching
that's
this
what you're
game.
saying. You said it's going to be entertaining, so it should be in C tier.
That's
It
what
is
I'm
gonna
saying.
be a
Yeah, no,
bad
I'm
game, but it's
agreeing
gonna
with
be
you.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
agreeing with you. I
It's
think
not
you
going to be
swung me.
entertaining.
I wanted this to go into F tier, but I'm swung to C tier because at least
my
we get
God,
to
you guys are
see
crazy.
100 Thieves. I think this is going to be so one-sided.
Well, every game's fun, right?
No,
not every game is
You
fun.
get to see 100 Thieves play and
God.
this is one of the most promising squads I think in Americas. So you get to actually see them showcase against a team that's
True.
basically playing ranked.
Also,
Not basically, but well, okay.
I think that's a little unfair. But also, like, I don't know. This just feels like cable television. I got a cable television trial for one day this weekend to watch the Birds game to qualify to the Super Bowl. And cable TV is like the worst thing that anyone has ever created. I think Valorant should mimic this. It should be like 3 rounds of gameplay and then like fucking 5 minutes of ads straight. And then 3 more rounds of gameplay and 5 minutes of ads. And like constantly during the game, there's more advertisements. Like we should have like a giant AR fucking, what's the famous chef's name from Hell's Kitchen? Gordon Ramsay. He needs to come up on AR and advertise his new television show. They were doing that shit in TV. It's crazy. TV is a different fucking world, and I want that for Valorant, and that's why I want this match in C tier.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait to see Golden Boy.
So true.
I watched the Royal Rumble this last week. Kurt and I watched the Royal Rumble. I just started getting into wrestling at age 27. I can't wait to see Golden Boy fucking chew his ear off about the American Nightmare. All right. Next up,
match.
BBL versus DRX. F, for the love of God. Also,
F.
not watching this game.
You don't. No,
sorry, guys.
sorry.
Don't give a shit.
You don't.
It's
if
an
you're
F.
giving the argument that every game in 100 Thieves is in C, surely this one should be in C as well, because at least it's one good team versus a team that's theoretically going to be poor.
No. I don't think BBL will be silly and funny and entertaining in the same way that that I think EDG will be. I think at very least, if we have nothing else in the EDG match, it's like, who's Edward? Look, it's the Chinese team out of nowhere. We haven't really gotten to see them play them. Maybe they'll have something crazy, and maybe they go for some like crazy comp like FPX was cooking with like their like whatever it was, the like Haven Viper. Like there is, I think, a higher probability of silliness in that match. Whereas here, I think this should just be DRX flattening BB than silly.
That's the thing. If it's close in any way, I feel like if the 100 Thieves game is close, I'll be excited to watch it. If this game is close, I'm going to be mauled in at DRX. Because I know that if it's close, it's going to be because they've done some dumb shit with their roster and they're running some poo comp, and I'm just going to maul out of my mind whilst they're winning. I can feel the anger building inside of me already. Kushina's getting an ace while RB runs it down on Yoru or something. It's going to... That's the only way that this game is going to be close, and it's going to make me mad. So it's an F tier game.
I just don't think there's any way. Yeah, I think that's so unlikely. I think DRX are just going to come in playing some standard stuff, playing it well. They're going to win like 13-2, 13-6, and I'm just going to look at the VLR stats later because it's just boring. Cloud9 versus PaperX. Now we're talking, baby. Now we're talking. A tier.
A tier?
A tier.
I would put this.
I would put this
S
S tier.
Now, because
I think this would be a great match.
Yeah, I think this would be a good match. I think you get to see PaperX coming in with a lot more time where they can pull out their wacky, quirky, bespoke strategies that like they used to do on Bind and Breeze. That those maps aren't in the pool, but they've had a bit of time to cook. Get to see Cloud9 actually play with practice instead of actually having no practice at all and heading into a tournament like the Red Bull event. We actually get to see how that roster works out as well. I think it's going to be fun. There's players that we know really well on both sides, and there's unknowns that are going to get solved. And the quality shouldn't be poor.
Actually.
I think PaperX is always an entertaining team to watch. Like they're fun out of game, they're silly, haha, but they also have like you're talking about, Brent, the crazy strategies that are entertaining. Who knows what they've been cooking on the off season and are going to pull out here. They were playing all those wild like Harbor comps. They were playing like Harbor, Phoenix, Reyna on Fracture. Like
crazy.
They were doing some insanity. And I don't think they're going to necessarily do this here, but I think there's some chance for some silliness. Also, like just like the matchup, I think will also just be good, actually like quality Valorant. It's like Ye and Leaf versus Jing and Forsaken. I feel like that is inherently hype. I think seeing either of these teams go home in the first round is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is.
So it's going to be our first look at like, holy shit, this is a single elimination tournament where one of these teams that you could probably favor to make like top 8 will be going home straight away. Like, I think it's just going to be hype. I think it's an S tier match.
Yeah, I think even if the game is not close, it'll be for entertaining reasons. Like PaperX playing some wacky shit and it just doesn't work and you're just sad, but it's entertaining still. Like that kind of thing. I think that's an S tier match. All right. Giants versus Detonation. I think I'm going to be giving it a C.
It's between C and F, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
The thing is, I find it quite difficult to care about either of these teams because the bracket that they're in sees them face Koi or NRG after this, and I think that both of those teams are just favored over. Like, even the loser of the Koi NRG game would probably still be on paper favored against the winner of this one. So it's quite an unbalanced bracket in that sense. But it's not that I think the Giants team is terrible. It's just that I struggle to get invested in it because I don't quite believe that they're going to be able to make a run even if they win. And the same case with Detonation. But I guess it's going to be a more even game than some of the opening matches. But I still don't think it's going to be that even.
Even, to be honest. I don't think it'll be that
I feel like
even.
Giants might just stomp. Like, Giants, when I was watching them, I didn't think they were great, but I thought they were, like, a pretty solid fundamental team. I thought that Rhyme did a pretty solid job of, like, adapting and calling well in their games. And I don't know. It's just, like, from watching Detonate, the little that I saw of them, it was just like spaghetti city. And that, to be fair, it was only like that one like show match that they were playing. But I just don't really have faith that this team is going to be able to match up that much. I think the most likely outcome is that Giants wins versus them pretty convincingly. Maybe we get a couple silly rounds where Detonate can take something, can make it a little bit closer. I think that's possible. But like you're saying, Josh, I just don't think either of these teams can make a run after that. Yeah. So I just can't be invested.
I think it's F for me when I'm thinking about
I think actually,
my emotional
F,
attachment to it.
F, but above BBL DRX, where it is.
High F.
Yeah, because it should. I think there's a little bit more potential for an interesting match, a closer match.
I just think it should be Giants as the favorites. I don't think it'll be.
I mean, I think you
interesting
can
win.
make a similar argument to what we were saying with EDG, where like there's some chance where we get some close rounds, maybe we see a weird comp or something. But I just don't see it that probable. So I think it's a fair F tier.
Next up, we have FPX versus Carmine Corp. I think B or A on this one.
I mean, holy
Maybe
entertainment and unbelievable spaghetti. If you're watching for the Schadenfreude, if you're watching to just tune in and see chaos incarnate upon your screens, this would be one to look at. It's gonna be relatively like it's gonna be jail Valorant. And I think if you're a fan of jail Valorant, you should tune in to watch it. But I still don't think it's gonna be A tier. I think it might be top B.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I would.
Because I don't think the
top B.
quality is gonna be great. And the more that I've watched of FPX, I mean, we're gonna talk about them later, but I might be going back on my opinions of earlier, so we'll see.
What is this face you're doing? What is
Ghastly expression.
Transforming into the headmaster of a school.
I think B, I mean, this one for me is just riding on entertainment value.
It is.
I think there's a lot of potential entertainment value to be had in this game. I really hope that both teams turn up and play poorly. I think that would be ideal.
I kind of want to put it A, because even if like Carmine Core shows up and is playing really like well, I think that just means that Scream is killing everyone against some like silly crazy comp from FPX. Like, or they pull out something more serious and we still see some spaghetti from both sides. I think there's just like bound to be entertainment either way with this matchup. And also I think it's just kind of like a hype clout matchup because it's like, oh, Scream, it's like big France clout team
China
with some really solid players versus like big clout China team with who knows how they're going to perform. Probably not great, but who knows?
I'm leaning more towards B. Just because
I think go on.
I don't think it's going to be quality at all. Like I think a team like FPX gets dismantled by
does it need to be?
A team like FPX gets dismantled by a structured EMEA team, like an average structured EMEA team. Like they went up against Giants, I think Giants would be winning that match. Honestly,
is that Carmine Core though?
I don't know.
I feel like Carmine Core might be having some of the Scream brain.
Here's the thing, because Scream, we don't know who the fuck's IGLing for this team. I can only assume it's going to be Scream, and that guy, he's off the fucking Zaza, man. Like the fucking the shit that he was cooking up when he was IGLing was insane. So he's not. I don't think they're going to be leading a structured team in Carmine Corp, but it's just going to be chaos, but I don't think it's going to be quality. It's just going to be back and forth.
But the thing
if
is,
you try and like analyze the minimap, you're going to be wondering, why is Berlin late lurking here as one of their only initiators? Why is Ayang holding a one and done angle as
Isn't
Sky?
That fun,
Why?
It's
I feel
really
like that's
fun.
quite fun.
It's really
and also,
it's going to be. It's not going to be quality, but it's going to be fun. which
Yeah.
means I
Mimi's
think
persuaded me a little bit, though. Mimi's persuaded me because if it is one-sided, if it's not a clown fiesta close game, if it's one-sided, it either means Scream's killed everyone or the Chinese team has won. And I think either way, isn't that really fun to like talk about into the future, like as you continue through the bracket?
Yes.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
fun.
It is fun,
I'm
but-
actually convinced that it should be in like lower
I don't think it's
A.
going to be the highest A tier, but I think it is an A tier
Okay.
match.
sure.
I'm rolling with it. Foot, Rex, Regim, Keon, S tier. It's gonna be close, huh? It's gonna be a close
Gotta be
game.
F. It's
That's
gotta
F,
be
man.
F.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's F. That's. Just put it at the bottom. I mean, the problem. There's just. It's. Who? I mean, I forget how the.
If they
bracket
win, they
makes
play against 100 Thieves.
it. Okay. Yep. F. All right. Gen.G versus Loud. I think C.
No, dude,
I think
think
that's a
about
B
it.
tier.
Brazil crowd, no?
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah,
That's
oh,
true.
Dude, it's going to be hype.
I just don't. It could be a decent game as well. Like, that actually might be kind of hype because I think Gen.G can put up a bit of a fight. I think Loud will win, but Gen.G could put up a bit of a fight enough that the crowd is into it.
Yeah.
It's not just.
It's the first day. It's the final game of the first day, and it's the first time that the Brazilian crowd will have anyone from South America, and especially a Brazilian team to root for. And it's the champions. Like, the crowd is just going to carry this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
I would put it A tier though because I think it's out of the 3 games at the top there. I think it's the most likely for Loud to just convincingly win and for the actual game to not be that interesting.
Yeah.
I
think
don't
it's
know
just
if
gonna
I
be
if I have that much faith for Loud to just convincingly win though. Like, I think there's a chance that Gen.G could show up and do solid and make this a close matchup. Like, I feel like I don't know. I think A tier is fair. I think A tier is fair. I think the crowd's going to be great. I think it's going to be really cool getting to see Loud for the first time with their new players. I think it'll be interesting to see a little bit more out of Gen.G. I thought that team had some potential as well. So I don't know.
Gen.G are not making this close. The Gen.G are not making
They're
this
getting
close.
like
No
9
faith?
rounds maybe.
No, I really don't. I think that Gen.G's roster looks okay on paper, but the last time we had a team that really did anything from Korea outside of DRX has been lost to the history books. I don't particularly believe in them. I don't think that their recent results in like even the show matches have been impressive. I didn't really gather anything from watching those games. They've got some all right players, but it's not an all right team. And you need, unless Thieves is actually playing Neon in these games and Aspas is now playing Smokes or something and Loud is just falling apart at the seams and they crumble under the pressure. But I mean, how many universes is that? That's like 2. That's like Doctor Strange looking at the 2 universes where Thieves has just boomed the team by not being able to play Smokes. It just won't happen.
Yeah. Would you have it above FPX Carmine?
I
I
would.
think below.
Yeah, just for the crowd, I think. Just for the crowd. The crowd is going to be going
crowd is gonna
nuts.
pop.
All right. What is that? Koi NRG?
NRG.
I mean, that's gotta be A or S.
Yeah, I think it's A.
It might be top A.
I think it's the first game of the tournament entirely, and it's a bit of a coin flip match, and you're getting to see the like core of the best team of the pre-partnership era. I think there's a lot of good stuff to be interested in here. I think it should be, about top of A.
It's
Also,
gotta be top.
Storyline alert. Optic always starts slow in their first matches of international tournaments. They always almost choke at the beginning of events. Maybe that'll stay through with this team. Maybe this game will be closer than some people expect. I think Koi actually has a really pretty good roster. I think it should be a fun one. I would actually put it under the Loud game because I think the crowd might be mildly dead for this one, which I don't know. It's like the first game of the event. It's no Brazilian team playing. I don't know if it's going to have the same hype that the match with Loud will have.
I think it will just be a quality match.
Yeah,
Which means
this one is quality, and I think good chance it'll be entertaining too.
Yeah. I would slot this in A anyway. I don't really care where it goes.
I'm fine with that.
I think there is a chance that this, of all the games that we've started putting on the tier list, I think this could be the biggest flop of the ones that we've put up there because it's the first game of the tournament, and if Koi just falls over, because remember they are like a pretty new team that have talented players, but Wolfen's on his way up from the tier 2 kind of level. They don't have very much experience playing together as a team. If they do just flop to NRG, and NRG are like, their core of that team is super experienced, that is going to be a pretty shit way of opening the tournament. Like, everyone's hyped for this game, whoa, and then Gen.G just crushed them 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that would send it plummeting down to the C tier or F tier. But I think it should be close.
Or the opposite, really. Like, if NRG, if the storyline is accurate, that would be kind of boring.
I feel like people would be talking about it a lot, though,
More
if NRG
interesting
ended up
than the
losing.
opposite, for sure. Yeah. Hey, it's good with that, though. All right. MIBR versus Talon. I'm going to give that like a B tier. I think that should be a close game. I think I think the gameplay won't necessarily be top quality, but it will be entertaining because there are just some fraggers in that server who are going to make cool plays happen, and the crowd is going to go fucking nuts.
Yep.
So,
crowd, I think you got cool storylines as well because the Talon players, they've all played at previous events as well. MIBR is very new to the big stage, and they've got the crowd cheering them on. They've got Bazooka as a coach as well in MIBR, which is
also,
cool, kind of like
Patafan making his like re-debut.
Yeah,
in
I don't know
Valorant.
if Patafan's
I don't
gonna
believe
play.
Paddy is playing. Apparently,
Is he
Paddy
not?
on stream said that he's just the sub for the team. So again, this isn't like verified source, but Paddy was saying that he was the 6th player, and Garnett's going to be playing that like
Oh, I
duelist
did
role
not realize
instead.
that. That is so sad.
It is a bit sad, yeah. But
I still think it will be a good match. No.
I think this is either
regardless,
top
it
B
will
or
still be
low
good.
A as well, because this should be a close game, and whoever wins genuinely has possibility of like making it to that top 8 kind of level, because you're playing against the winner of Heretics EG, like you can definitely win that one as well. So I'm not sure. I'd be fine with it at top B, though.
I think it should be top B. I'm comparing it to those other A matchups. I think that it should be a good match. It should be solid Valorant, but I don't think it's going to be as hype as the other ones in A, besides the fact that you have the Brazilian crowd. But I don't think the Brazilian crowd is going to get as crazy as they will for Loud with like the champions coming back. I think this will be a good match, but likely not a great one. It has potential. I think B is very safe.
Navi versus Crew. I'm giving that. I mean, C maybe, bottom C.
Yeah. I really want to believe that this game's going to be good, but Crew have lost their 2 best players. Their results in Red Bull didn't look good, and they're playing against one of the best teams of the pre-partnership era.
Yeah.
I think Navi should cruise through this game. Maybe it'll be a bit better than 100 Thieves EDG.
I would put it I would put it below 100 Thieves EDG. I think like if Navi stomps, like sure we get some cNed clips, that'll be kind of cool, but like I just don't know. I just don't have any faith in Crew really to win this match or even make it particularly close. Like my Navi stocks are super high coming into this event. I think this should just be a one-sided, like just quick, easy blowout. Maybe you get a little wokage from the crowd because Zand is playing and Zand has a lot of fans, but I would put it C.
Yeah, that works for me. Sen versus Fnatic.
Automatic S, surely.
S.
Yeah,
because
I think
because the logic behind this, right, is you're looking at these rosters the first time in the partnership era, I guess, right? I mean, Fnatic have kind of been playing, but I don't think they've been practicing particularly seriously. Neither have Sentinels. Both of these teams have recently started seriously practicing. And there's just going to be a lot of hype going into it. Sentinels have got Brazilian players. Nasi and Pancada going to be playing on a big stage. Going to be a crowd cheering them on. It's a banger match for the opening, and one of them's got to go home. So
I've got 4 points for this one. Point number 1, Brazilian players. Point number 2, tens. Point number 3, holy shit, Chronicle and Leo are on Fnatic. Point number 4, holy shit, one of these teams is going to go home in the first round. This match is going to be good.
Yeah, especially if this was actually in the alpha bracket, I don't know what, I think I'd be arguing for it to get dropped down to like top A or something. But considering this game happens on the 24th of February, the Sentinels is actually, and Fnatic too, they've had more time to prep, they've had more time to like watch the games, study the meta, and so we should see a significantly better Sentinels than we saw at the Ludwig Tarek event, to the point where it should look more like what you're expecting from the team, rather than we had a week to prep, we just kind of went in there and played whatever we could. So I think this should live up to the brand factor, but I don't know, is it better than Cloud9 PaperX? It might
I would
be
say
by the
so.
time we've seen the other
probably.
games.
Super
I
Team
think-
Fnatic versus Sentinels. returning former champs as well, part of the team.
Yeah, there's just I think we've maxed out on entertainment value. I don't think there is a game here that has more potential entertainment value than that game. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to repeat all the points. Max out entertainment value. The actual quality of the game, though, could definitely be not great. I think it's possible that
I think it will be good.
20, it should be
24
good,
more days
but...
to practice until they have to play. Like, I have a lot of faith in both these teams to make the improvements they need to going in. I think this match, even if the quality isn't great, I think it's still going to be hype. I think it's still worth punting it to S tier.
Yeah, I think it's the top one. But T1 versus Furia.
Oh, that, I mean, T1 just did not give me any fucking hope. But yeah, it's got to be better than 100 Thieves EDG, I think, just by virtue of it's probably going to be a closer game because even with as bad as T1 were, I think Furia are not, looking like the greatest squad in the world either. So it should be a little more towards even. And you've got the Furia like playing in front of the home crowd kind of thing. I don't think it's not as good as MIBR Talon. It definitely isn't as good as that.
No, but it's around the same, I think. I think this could be a close win for Furia, and it could be exciting because the crowd will be popping for Furia, getting over the finish line in what it would... And what I think in either direction should be a relatively close game. I might actually put it in B tier. I think it's pretty similar to
I'm fine with
MIBR Talon. Maybe I might be giving T1 a little bit too much credit. I mean...
I just think there's a big difference between like Talon are probably going to look a bit weaker since the last time we saw that core of players because they don't have Surf, they don't have Scary, they don't have Paddy playing, but the team's still going to be like a decent team. Every time Zersha turned up to a LAN, they were good for a win here or there. This is a very different format, so they don't play as many games, but they should be good for like a good game, whereas T1 just fell over in that Ludwig Tarek game, and I just was so unimpressed. Like, I know that obviously Sentinels kind of fell over as well, but you can tell that team is going in a direction, whereas T1, I just didn't see a thing.
And they had more time.
Yeah, they've been on a bad path.
But
Somebody's
keep
turned them away.
Either way, top C, lower B,
top C.
It's whatever. Basically the same thing. Next up, what is it? EG and Heretics. I think that's near the top C, low B as well. I think it has some potential to be a relatively close, interesting game, and both teams have a shot of making it kind of deep because that bracket is not as strong. So
I don't.
I feel like bottom B personally.
I
think it's going to be. Yeah, why? Why do you dislike this game so much?
Because it's a musical chairs game with EG. Like, I don't know what their final roster is going to look like with them hiring all of the Americans.
Doesn't get you hyped? Ooh, they have.
Heretics is dated, right? It's like an old core on this team that we've already seen before. That's not really that inspiring. Don't really know how the roles are going to mix up as well. I just think it's going to be cloutless and lackluster.
I don't think it'll be cloutless.
What a fucking
Mixwell has a lot of clout.
Mixwell has a lot of clout,
not for us.
But dog, I mean,
we're not his audience.
It's like, come on, it's EMEA clout. It's fucking worthless. That shit's like,
It's definitely not. Whoa, it's no,
dude. I'm telling you,
that man he's getting.
EMEA is not clout.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's
Stacking it up.
cloutless in an A clout? You have BCJ. He's somewhat clouded. That guy's cool. It's a big man buff. You got fucking Ethan in the mix. We get to see Jojimo debut on LAN. You get to see a Heretics who is kind of
listen,
but
don't
he's
take
pretty
this
solid.
the wrong way.
I think it'll be
Me
like
saying
a medium good, solid game of Valorant. And, there'll be some great jokes about EG. Maybe they walk out with all 10 of their players at once. Who knows? It could be fun. It could be awesome. Like, I think it's a B tier match. I think it'll be fine.
I'm not saying I don't like the teams because they're cloutless. I'm
That's
just
exactly
saying
what you said. How dare you? All you care about is
the
clout.
excitement factor that's generated from this is like, I feel like I'm watching an old core of a team that really never even achieved that much in 2021 versus a team where there's tons of unknowns and people don't really care about them that much as well because they really haven't put too much effort into the brand.
But mate, look at who they're above. I mean, I'm more excited to watch Heretics than I am to watch T1. And I am vaguely interested in watching EG and seeing like what 5 players they're putting out there and whether or not it works.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see if
okay, I'm not
BCJ
gonna die
can
on this
pick up
hill.
smokes to
No,
a high level.
honestly, Bren, you're convincing me. I'm not gonna lie. It is kind of. I'm just.
no.
I'm
No,
just
this
not
match is
that
gonna be good.
interested, man.
Put it on top C.
It's like when your girl gets to pick the show to watch. You don't really want to watch it, but you're gonna watch it anyway. It's just, you feel a general apathy towards the broadcast you're witnessing.
Dodgeball on land, mixed well playing. Two solid teams. It should be really close. It's not the most clouded teams. It will be a close, good game of Valorant. I think that gives it a B tier. I think it's just a good, honest B tier. It's nothing crazy. It's no clout match. It's no crazy hype.
I think it's
but it'll
going to
be a
slip down
good
the B
game.
tier as well. I
There's
think
no
there's going to
way
be games
it's going
that
to be
go above
more
it.
interesting than Fury at T1. I'm sorry. There's just no way.
yeah, there's
Yes,
no
there's
shot.
definitely a way.
There's no,
No,
shot.
there
I think
isn't.
it might be. I think
There's no
Fury
shot.
might just roll that game and it's going to be
Yeah.
veg
The crowd
as
is going
fuck.
to pop, and that'll
the crowd is
be the
gonna be
crowd pop
crazy.
will be more interesting than
They have the crowd.
anything
maybe.
that
Yeah, I
happens
can
in
go to
EG
fucking
Heretics.
Google and search 10 hours of crowd yelling and fucking play it in my headphones.
But
I
there's
don't
nothing.
give a
There's
shit.
nothing
I'd rather
behind
watch
it
a
though.
good
There's no
game of
emotion. There's no
Valorant.
feeling. That doesn't. There's no emotion, and there's
You can
no
see it's
feeling.
dead in his eyes. It's deadness in his eyes.
Heretics
I
and
just-
EG is a
Put
wokish
it.
game
Put
that
it
will be
between
fine.
100 Thieves and
It should be the
whatever
lowest
fuck.
B
Yeah.
tier. It can always
Right
stay
there.
the lowest B tier.
Right there, right there, Kurt. Right there.
Kurt, where do you want it? You're
Me.
the tiebreaker. It's 2v2.
Boom. Done. Next game.
I think it's going. I think it's actually even lower than this.
Oh, no.
Okay,
no,
we'll
you're
keep
not
it
the tiebreaker. You don't get
I
you're
think-
not safe.
I agree. With
Also, I think EG's gonna roll this game.
You think so?
I
Thanks,
think
my
that's
hot
quite.
take.
I think that's possible.
It is possible. We don't even know what they're doing. They might just turn up. All right. Team Liquid versus Secret. F tier.
I mean, that's just
F.
F.
Liquid
You
should.
know,
I think it
I
might
mean,
be.
Liquid should
It
just.
might be
smoke
one of.
them.
I like
It might
the
be the
Liquid
worst
roster.
game.
You mean worse in terms of it being one-sided?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
might be the most one-sided game that you've got in the entire bracket.
Yes, I agree.
I think it might be even more one-sided than DRX BBL.
See, I
in
would
fact,
rather
I'm pretty
watch,
confident
though-
about that.
I would rather watch Liquid Secret over Footballist RRQ
Same.
and over BBL DRX.
Same.
That is true.
You mean just because you want to watch the Liquid team play?
Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
fair. All right.
Secret have made a couple changes. We haven't really seen them on the international stage in a while. I am a little bit more. All I'm saying is, Josh, are you more intrigued to see Team Secret or BBL? Because I would rather watch Secret play than BBL.
Genuinely BBL. I would rather watch Kushner at least try to fight against DRX and see if he can have a pop-off game than watch Borkham and Dubstep again at an international level just getting
They did
smurfed
decent
on by
last time.
Safe and Yampy and stuff.
They did
What
decent.
was their performance last time?
at what was that, Champions 2021? And look, it was a long time ago. If we're keeping it
Oh my
real,
god,
but
that was so long.
They
was a
won
long time
2
ago, but they
games
made it
in Champion 2021
to the playoffs.
with a completely different roster.
Not
Yeah, they
complete-
beat
not completely
Vikings when
different.
Vikings was just
Not
really
completely
bad, and Crazy Raccoons when Crazy Raccoons
listen, I'm
was
just fighting
really
for it to
bad.
be higher than those two games. I also might
Top F tier. Top F tier.
intrigue in seeing this Liquid team in its entirety, not the Red Bull version where they had 2 subs, also has it for me above those 2 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seeing Nats, seeing Redgar, seeing the whole
Yeah,
package.
I think that's fair. I think
Yeah.
that's okay.
I would put it top F. I'd put it above Giants.
Yeah, maybe even.
And I would put
I think
DRX
we're
above
fighting over
Giants too.
nothing at the moment,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Just fighting
great.
over the F tier.
F tier.
Yeah, I mean, just entirely irrelevant. What is that? Oh, that's Vitality versus Global Esports.
Global Esports. Vitality, fucking underdog team. This team, I think, is going to make waves this year. I'm not going to lie. I'm watching them. They had very little practice on the VODs that I'm watching, and they're actually looking all right. And I think they've got talent on this roster. And then you've got Global Esports. I need to say only one sentence. Hello, India. GE fighting. And you've got an actual injection of clout. Live injection shipped over straight from India into this fucking game. This is a
It's just
classic
the most
match.
insane roster too. Like we get to watch Ronsky play, who I was actually a huge fan of this guy in fucking OCE in like 2021, playing in the OCE dungeon.
It's chaos,
and now he
man.
gets to play with a better team internationally. SK Rossi gets to play. It's like they grabbed clout from every region and fucking
It's
just gonna
actually
be
Matched it
it's gonna
together.
be crazy to watch. It's gonna be you get to watch a team that's
No.
I think underrated. That I think's underrated. Vitality, right?
Vitality,
At the moment.
okay, but the problem is after this win for Vitality, and then the next game, they play against like Liquid or Navi or something. Who do they play against?
If they win this game, they play against Leviathan or Zeta.
right. And then
And then if they win that game, they're against like Navi or
they-
Liquid.
Dude,
they
I'm telling you,
could
okay,
beat Leviathan,
all I'm saying is,
but they're
if you want-
not beating.
That team's underrated.
They're not beating
If you want to
both.
be an armchair analyst and you're listening to this right now and you want a team to follow that you can be on the wave for before anyone else jumps on it,
They are
it's
rated.
Vitality.
Vitality are rated. They're not underrated.
I don't think so.
I think they're perfectly rated as like a tier 1 gatekeep team.
Okay, but then are they?
It's a worse game
that's
than
why I put
MIBR
them.
talent. It's a B tier game.
It's low B.
Dude,
it's
no,
there.
but
It's
think
right
about it.
there.
Global esports. They walk out. Aaron leading the charge.
And
Aaron, the most clouted NA player of all time.
The mix.
The crowd goes crazy.
the crowd's on their phones. The crowd has left the arena. They're not watching the game.
They're like, guys, when does Lab play?
The entirety of the world is cheering for global esports online.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see
I mean,
it, bro. I don't
like
see what you're selling
Indian,
me here.
like
I'm just
Indian
not buying
Twitter
it.
might be
It is-
insane after that.
I just think
It
it's
is
going to be
definitely
entertaining.
B. It is definitely a B tier
No,
game.
it is B.
better
I
than
think it's
all of
gonna be
these C tier
entertaining.
games.
I think it's going to be, you get to see, I think,
B.
a team that's quite good against a team that is literally cooking while huffing carbon monoxide. Like, the global esports has been, how this team's going to work, I don't know. I
no,
need to see them play. I
That
need
is-
to see them play.
That is the intrigue, is what will global esports be doing? I just don't see any way on this planet that they win this game against Vitality.
But I just
I
need to
just
see them
don't-
play.
I
That
just
doesn't
I
matter.
don't think they win, but I need to see them play.
we also we got to put Fury at T1 in B. We have
Yeah,
to.
let's put that in B
Yeah,
tier.
yeah, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think
the
that
crowd
fine,
buff,
fine.
the
Fury
crowd
at
buff.
T1 and B. It's so similar to MIBR talent to me. They're very similar games. And then put
No,
I think this is
Vitality GE should be B. It should be the lowest B. I'm with Bren. I think this game will be good. I think GE is interesting. I think Vitality could
really
actually be pretty good.
The thing is, I agree with Bren that Vitality is underrated, but I think it's going to be exciting to see GE play, and then they just get flattened immediately, and you're just bored to death. Like,
exactly.
That is what I
yeah,
imagine.
that's what's
that
going to
might
happen.
happen.
There's
But it's-
intrigue before, and then.
But that isn't
they're
that
just
the
bleh.
point? Isn't that what we're
I don't
looking
know
for?
if they're gonna get. I don't know if they're gonna get flattened though. I don't know.
They
I think it might
are
be
gonna get-
closer than
I'm-
people expect.
I don't think it'll be that close.
It won't be that close. They won't win. But
I think
they'll
it
keep
could
some
be a
rounds.
close 2-0. It could be like
Yeah,
13,
I mean that's what I'm
8,
saying, which I
13,
think
9 or
gives it
something.
a B tier. It's like, oh, look at
don't-
GE, they're
Oh,
solid.
great. A 13-8.
Maybe.
Can't wait to watch that. It's
I
just-
feel like I'm getting just drawn into the hype of global esport when I'm confident that they're not going to work.
GE
But Bren's
fighting.
drawn me in. With
I
the
would care to
GE
watch
fighting
this
Hello
match
India.
significantly more than Heretic CG. I think. Okay, I'm fine with it being top C.
nah.
I'm fine with it being top C.
It's either bottom B or
put
top
it
C.
at top
in
C.
my
Put it
opinion.
at top C.
Sure,
C,
this is
okay.
There's
fine.
no way you can't be on the same plane as games with Brazilian teams with the Brazilian crowd. There's just no fucking way. It can't be on the same plane. Zeta versus Leviathan is the last game. Well, I would maybe put also. I think this might be top C.
I'm happy with
Yeah.
I
that
know
personally.
you.
I think the
you're rating
storylines coming into
Leviathan.
this.
Sorry, go on, bro.
No, I interrupted you. I just want to say, I think the storylines coming into this that make this an exciting match to look forward to, but it will be the same case where once you get it going, I think it might be very one-sided with Leviathan winning.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I was just gonna say, Josh, you are rating Leviathan really highly. Is that just leading you to snooze at this game?
I am kind of snoozing, but it's that it's the anxious sleep of those who have known pain before. You know, I'm ready to wokage at any point to a fucking nightmare where Zeta Division have come alive again, and I know that I'm really confident that it won't happen. I'm dead set that Zeta Division's run was just a flash in the pan that happened at Reykjavik, and they fucked their team for this year by not making any roster moves. I'm like, it's all written in stone at this point, except as soon as I start to go to bed, as soon as I'm like dreaming sweet dreams of Leviathan winning, I wake up and think, oh, Laz is actually a good player. Oh, Sugar Zero is actually a fairly decent player. Oh, what if they do well at this tournament? So I do think that this is going to be a bit of a snoozer. I think Leviathan should be a much better team coming in here, like much better team. But I guess just in terms of like people are excited to watch Zeta, people like Japanese Valorant, the Japanese viewership is going to be really high. There's a South American team playing, even though they're not Brazilian. Like all of those factors might end up making it a B-tier game, I suppose. But
no, is Kez not on
No,
this
I
team?
think it's a B-tier game. I
He's
think
a
that.
sub.
I think that.
He ain't cheering for that team.
I mean, he might be playing. They still, as far as
Yeah.
I know, there's still like
I don't think
Takalia and
I don't think the
Kez
crowd's
are
going to be on the
swapping.
side of Leviathan.
they're not going to be on the side of Leviathan if cNed's playing, sure. I feel like they might root for them if
Yeah, maybe.
he's on the bench and he's not part of the team that comes out. I'm not really sure. I'm not tapped into that degree. You could actually just go and look at VLR. Genuinely, the amount of people that post there from Brazil, you could just look in the
Worst
VLR
advice
forums
you've
and
ever
just see
given.
the general idea.
That's the worst.
I'm
advice
going to go
you've
and have a
ever
look now,
given.
actually.
No.
I'm fine with it being in C. I am interested. I hope Zeta do well, but I have major concerns about their lack of change with the roster after struggling for most of last year. I mean, Reykjavik was at the top of the year, and then after that, struggle season for the next, whatever that was, 9-8 months. And they changed nothing. So I am worried about Zeta. I would like to see them do well. If they do play well, it'll be a very good match, I think. But I have major concerns about that. So I think C is fine with that. All right. Boom. Tier list secured. Now let's hone in on one of the teams. We're going to talk about Loud for a bit. What are you laughing about?
Sorry. I said that I was going to VLR to try and take a look and see if any Brazilian fans had like besmirched Leviathan's match pages, because that's how it normally works. If you're unfamiliar with the VLR meta, is that future games in brackets, they all spam like, oh, Zeta versus whoever, like Leviathan's never making it through. And instead, I'm looking at the game, which is the winner of Vitality Global against Leviathan Zeta, right? So no one knows who's playing in it yet. And it's just 3 Indian fans saying Global Esports 2-1 Zeta. It's just actual, just hello India kind of moment.
They might be right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Loud for a bit though. We're gonna break down a couple of these teams really quick, and then later we have top 10 players of the lock-in.
Oh,
A
God.
non-troll list.
Non-troll.
No trolling allowed.
No trolling.
So we'll be doing that later. But yeah, could Loud get the first back-to-back? Could they do it here in Brazil with the crowd on their side, with the way that their bracket is shaped out, with the new roster, without Pancata, without Saucy, but still retaining the other, core 3 members who are all great in their own right, bringing in 2 upcoming guys? Could they do it? First off, they're up against Gen.G in the first round. We talked about that game. That should be a win. Then they're up against FPX or Carmine Corp. That should be a win. And then in the semis, there are 2, maybe 3 teams they could be playing against, depending on how much you want to rate Giants. But they could be going up against Koi. They could be going up against NRG or Giants in the semifinal game. And then presumably, probably against DRX from there. That
I
is
think
their
presumably-
likely trajectory.
I feel like presumably that would be another Optic versus Loud, pretty much, except it's just NRG against New Loud, which
Yeah.
I think inherently would be pretty hype that Riot keeps
Yeah.
seeding these 2 teams to play each other, even if they're slightly different now. But I don't know. I think it's just so hard to punt on this team being able to make a back-to-back, just first of all, based off the format of how like insanely hard it is actually to be able to win this one out. And I kind of can see 2 worlds. One where like kind of what you were saying earlier, Josh, where it's like they can't really figure out the roles, and like the more experienced players on the roster are forced to flex to make the new ones more comfortable, and things get wonky and they look unimpressive and they lose out early and maybe haven't had enough time to cook things together. I could also see a world where the newer players have just been really well groomed by like Sidok and by the more experienced. That's not a weird thing to say. That's not something we laugh about. That's very normal.
I'm not.
I mean, it's
not
a
laughing.
bit of an unusual word to use, I feel.
I feel like
but
people
maybe.
use that word a lot. Like you're grooming someone to be your successor.
Yeah, true, actually. I guess, yeah. No,
'Cause for me, like-
that is a fair
Yeah,
word to
yeah.
use. I
Like-
just always
like-
think about the negative connotations.
Yeah. The internet has ruined us all.
What the fuck am I?
But
What have I walked in on?
We're talking
Nothing.
about the
Hold on,
merit
hold
of
on.
using
Mimi,
the
make
word
your
loud.
point. Mimi, make your
My
point.
point is that I think what makes this team interesting to me is that it's basically like the parallel of the two younger Loud players, Les and Aspas, who kind of got like built up to be these stars around their more experienced core, now kind of have that pressure to be the more experienced member of the team and help form these younger players. And I think the ability for them to kind of make these new players comfortable and get them in roles that make sense will kind of decide whether they can win or not, which is the obvious thing to say. But I think with the quality of competition, I struggle to see them being able to get to a point where I can favor them to win.
Yeah, win is asking a lot.
I think
Yeah.
this is also probably the most difficult format for anyone to repeat in. The actual bracket that they have, you can see it happening. Because the other thing to consider too is the teams that make it out of the alpha bracket should actually have an advantage in the final four, or rather in the grand final. Because you've just been able to watch the Omega teams play for so long whilst taking a break yourself and scrimming, and all of their stuff, the Omega teams have to go into the grand final, the semifinal and the grand final, playing basically the same stuff they've been playing the entire time. There's no break to reset their strats, whereas the alpha teams have a significant period of time to reset their strats. So if you're expecting Loud and DRX to make it out of the alpha bracket, you should be expecting, I think, them to have a sizable advantage over the other teams if they, whichever one makes it. But the fact that you slip up once you lose is crazy difficult, and it normally leads to massive upset results. And this is the definition of not an upset. Like, in order for someone to make a back-to-back, you need to prevent every upset from happening. You're considered usually the favorite in whatever match you have because you've just won the previous tournament. It's not exactly the same here because they've made two big changes, but they're considered the favorites in a lot of the games.
I have them going really deep. I mean, I had them going, and when we did our Preds for the finals last week, I had them coming in second place. I'm going to stick with that. I think they can make it all the way through the bracket, and I think Kaunstein is going to surprise people. I think he's a super sick player. I think he's going to look really good on the team.
Yeah, he's very good. I'm more worried about Tui's, to be honest, because it's just such a role swap. But Kao and Xena, I feel pretty confident about. But the shoes are just so big as well, man. Sassy and Pancada are such incredibly good players. You're trying to fill the shoes of a genuine Brazilian super team. That was the whole point of that. And it's not like they had the pick of the litter. They didn't pick up Kawanzin and Tui's because they were the best initiator and smoke players in Brazil. They picked them up because they were available and they thought they could turn them into that. That's a very different scenario from when Sassy and Pancada got added to the team.
Yeah, I do think Kawanzin could become the best initiator player in the region, though. I think he's got that level of potential talent. He does look really, really good. I think he's going to surprise people at this event. And I think that if Aspas plays at Aspas level, Sadhak had really, I'm talking individual here, but if Aspas continues the level he was at last year, and also I think less in this Sentinel meta, if he gets to play a lot of KJ Cypher, which I'm assuming will be the case, I think he will have huge impact on those agents. He was super strong on them before. At times, it kind of hampered them a bit. It was a little awkward with the chamber meta, I think. And just getting them back on those comfortable agents will be nice. I think they're going to make a deep run. I think winning, though, will be super tough. I think the teams on the other side of the first of all, they have to beat DRX, which I'm going to go out and say that I have them beating DRX, but even that is obviously huge challenge. Then in the final, they're playing against maybe 100 Thieves, maybe Fnatic, maybe Na'Vi, maybe fucking Liquid. But
Leviathan. I mean,
the teams on the other side of the bracket are also just goated. So whoever they end up playing, they're going to have to most likely beat DRX and then beat one of those teams. Probably 100 Thieves, Na'Vi, whatever. That's just so tough. That's where they might struggle, I think, is just really at the very end.
I want to just showcase for a sec how crazy the format is. So you need to win 5 games in a row, right? It's kind of simple, the format. You just got to win 5 games in a row and you are the champion. If anyone does that, they are the champion of Brazilian lock-in. Obviously, it gets more tough as you go on. If you look back through any of the major tournaments that have been played in Valorant, at Champions, so my point here generally being, nobody has won either every game at a Masters tournament or 5 games. So the only team to win every game at a tournament was Sentinels when they first turned up to Reykjavik, because that was, the double elimination and they just went through the top. But they only won 4 games. They didn't actually have to even play 5. And I think we can all agree that the difficulty level has gone up quite significantly at this point compared to the very first LAN event ever where Sentinels came in and smoked it. So I think that's a bit of an unfair comparison. And the only other time that it's been done was last Champions. Ascend won both matches in their group, and then they went into playoffs and they beat Team Secret, Team Liquid, and Gambit to win Champions 2021. So they won 5 games in a row. But if you recall, that first game against Vivo Keat, they should have fucking lost. But they were given like the 7-round disadvantage or something. It was just like some bizarre ruling that went kind of in their favor, but Vivo Keat were also using an exploit. Don't want to dig all of that up again, but I feel like even that was not the same. Like, even that isn't necessarily the clean, 5 wins in a row kind of deal. But that's the closest you get. Everybody else, every other win that we've had, FPX, they had their loss in the group stages, although when they went to playoffs, they kind of dominated that at Copenhagen. Reykjavik, Optic lost in the group stage, and they lost in the upper bracket final. And then when Gambit won, they dropped to 100 Thieves in the group stage in that crazy game where Hiko won the 1v3. So most of the time, the champion of a tournament has a slip up somewhere along the road. And this time, you're not allowed a single one. It's a really punishing format, obviously.
Yeah.
And in the past, to kind of go down a different road, in the past, we never had a Brazilian team who could really hit the top levels until Loud, until they actually managed to put together a super team. There was previous projects from like that old Vikings roster that you were just talking about. That was Saucy and that was Sidok, and that was them trying to put a different group of talent together to make something in a similar way. That never worked out for them. Now you've kind of lost one piece of that leadership that made the team what it was. You've lost probably the best controller player in the world, or one of the best controller players in the world, and are trying to slot a new player into that. It's just like such a big void to fill. You don't have your coach that was with the Loud roster either, in Bazooka, who they always talked about how much impact he provided that squad in being able to make changes and in being able to help develop those younger players. So now they kind of have to reset and do that all over again with only a couple months to do. It just feels really, really improbable that they're going to be able to make that miracle run with all of those limiting factors in place.
All right, Josh, I'm giving you 60 seconds. You got to tell me everything there's to know about FPX. It's the Josh Wilkinson Dork minute. You got 1 minute. Go FPX time, baby.
I mean, Bren can also help with this because
did you watch the VODs?
I
Dungeon
watched so many VODs.
All right, you both get 60 seconds.
I mean,
Between us?
I'd like
No,
Bren to begin, honestly.
You want me to begin?
All right, Bren.
Okay,
Yeah.
dude. I was
Spit
watching
some
this team and I'm
facts.
like, all right, Edward Gaming. I was gassed up on this team heading into champs last year because they didn't play the most complicated shit. They were just very, the honest person's Valorant. They just clicked on heads. They had really good fundamentals. Edward Gaming have gotten worse. They've just gotten worse. I'll say it right now. The fundamentals that was there, I'll just looser. The team play is just not quite as there. And guess what? They haven't offset that with any sort of meta development. So FPX have overtaken. I'm watching these FPX VODs. I'm like, okay, well, they seem to be playing relatively normal comps. Maybe they're doing stuff, maybe they're playing them really well. They are doing some absolute fucking crackhead shit on most of the maps they're playing. Ascent, they were just ignoring B main and A main most of the time. And I was like, is this just counter-stratting? Because Edward Gaming love to fight mid. But then the way that they're fighting mid, they have like Ayang playing Sky, and normally like you'll have your initiator player, maybe something takes contact on Tree or Cat on Ascent, and your Sky will, flash for you to support your team. Ayang's the one taking contact on like an off angle in Cat, and like alone, just taking fights. And they have moments like this where he's taking crazy timings, but there's no really superb utility.
There's no rhyme or rhythm, is there?
There's no rhyme or rhythm. It's just feeling. They're a vibes team. They're fucking fully based off vibes. So they're not doing anything. They haven't like pushed the meta too much. They've got the comps there, but the way they played them, their protocols, the defensive setups, the attack side setups on a lot of maps is just fucking bizarre. And I mean, I really lost the plot when I was watching them play on Haven, because dude, they're playing like this Viper comp, and they're like lurking Berlin, their initiator player, during like a chamber meta. Most teams, if they take A main control on the attack side, they would have lurked their chamber into short for like a backstab or to see if they can get anything later with a TP down. They've got Berlin, one of their initiator players, in there, their info initiator. So he just util dumps and just sits in short A. And then they retake control of A long, and they know Berlin's still there because he's just util dumped.
To be fair, Haven is their permaban. They always get rid of Haven in every game. And the reason that they were playing it is because they came from the lower bracket in the most recent tournament. Right. And they won on their permaban against EDG. So it's a massive fumble from EDG to even, to have even lost that game, because they got to ban 2 maps against EDG, play a BO5, and they lost 3-0. So it was like a shockingly poor finals from EDG. But this
EDG
team
did not play well in it.
This FPX team is still not better than them. I think they won the most recent tournament, but I can't say from watching the VODs that they look better than them. They have 2 players that are pretty cracked. The rest of the team is quacked. The strats are quacked, but they have 2 cracked players. Their chamber, who presumably is going to now be playing duelist stuff for them, whose name is like Yukor. He's really good. He's got a lot of talent. And then they have a guy called Aishang, who is mostly playing like initiator stuff, and he's clearly talented, but he plays the role really weirdly. And then they have just Crackhead Supreme Berlin on their team, who is just insane. He's the most inconsistent player I've ever seen, because his decision making is like it's ruled by a D20. It's just actually fucking, these coaches sat there with an earpiece in, and he's like, you rolled a nat 1, you must now feed. And he just goes, yes, boss, and just runs it in. and he's like, you rolled a nat 20, you hit 3 headshots, and he's, yes, boss. It's just so fucking bizarre watching this team play. So I had the hot take that this team was going to be able to beat Carmine Core. And the reason for that was, I had watched some of the VODs of some of the Carmine Core players, and I wasn't that confident about it. I don't like the idea of Scream RGL, and I don't know who else would be doing it. And I just generally think that French team is going to be a bit of a mess. But then when I'm watching this, I'm like, holy fuck, guys. You're watching a man change his mind in real time because some of this FPS, I am not filled with the same level of hopium that I was when I watched EDG. Coming into Champions last year, I seriously thought there was a chance that EDG's player quality and the unique way that they approach the game might be able to get them a cool win here or there. Maybe they'd be able to make it through to the top 8. I think that was about the limit of where we had them going. But this team, I just don't see it happening. And I think you can tell even with like the way that like Kang is dying here and stuff, the whole level of what the biggest thing that pisses me off watching Chinese Valorant actually is just a very natural consequence of them not playing very many tournaments against the best teams in the world. They have no respect for being punished. They don't think about how good teams are going to roll them. They're doing stuff and making decisions where a good team is going to understand that they've made a mistake and abuse their bad positioning, bad angles, bad help, like whatever it is, whatever mistake they've made in the moment. But they just get away with it because they're playing against not that great competition. And I think it's the same thing I see when I watch Japan play as well. And it's the same thing that Zeta managed to actually fix by playing like so much slower back in Reykjavik. But I just don't see how this team is going to be grinding like fuck, I'm sure, on the run up to lock-in. But I don't think they've got it in them at the moment. They're just too far away in terms of they would have to come up with so many new protocols. They have 2 players on their team that don't even look that skilled, honestly, which is very dissimilar to EDG. And just the way that they approach maps is most of the time about 8 rounds out of the half, they look like headless chickens. And 4 rounds, you're like, oh, I can really see what they're going for there. That was a nice plan. So all in all, I mean, Pearl is one of their best maps. And I don't think that any of the teams that are good on a global level at Pearl should be that worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest mold for me, I have not watched as much of this team as you guys have, but the biggest mold for me when I was watching them was just that, like, both of their initiator players seem to have their heart set on just, like, inting every round and not helping the team. Like, when he's playing Sky, it reminds me of, like, when Asuna first switched off of Duelist and was just playing KO like it was fucking Phoenix and just, like, running around every corner and just, like, taking an individual duel every single round. And then Berlin is just always in, like, the spot you'd least expect them. Like watching when their VODs looking the minimap, it's like, where's Waldo? Like, where is Berlin hiding on their attacking side this time to like get something? I don't know. It just seems so like lost in the sauce. And like, I do feel like EDG has gotten worse, but I still think there should be more faith in them because like you were saying, Josh, just the player quality is still pretty good on that roster, I think, comparatively to FPX.
Wow. Yeah. Don't get me started on Edward Gaming these days because they're still playing double duelist comps with Kang playing chamber. We're not heading into a chamber meta. They're playing double duelist comps, but the whole reason that even worked for them in the first place was because they were hitting their shots and the team play and trading was really clean, and it's just not. It's just slipped. And like if Kang's not hitting and chamber's been nerfed and the team plays missing now, like I don't know. They're just it's all over the place. But yeah, I agree with you, Josh. It's like definitely a symptom of them just not playing enough international matches where you can actually work out, oh, I'm not supposed to be getting away with this. Oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this right now. Like they're hard limit testing, but you don't have time to limit test. You head into Brazil, you've already at this point been tested. I think Carmen Corp will beat them even with Scream at the helm, making them play Phoenix comps with double controller. I don't know.
Will Navi be better than FPX? That's the next topic. Any strong opinions on that one?
Which FPX?
How are we feeling about Navi with Charles and Ned in the roster heading into this? Do you think they could be even better than they were previously? About the same as they were previously with Artis? Will they be worse than when they had Artis? Will the meta affect them? Yeah, I mean, there was kind of an expectation that with Chamber going out, we'd see more Jet, but there isn't actually a lot of Jet really being played. The meta is way more focused on Raze being the primary duelist at the moment. Do you think Navi are going to force Jet? What are you feeling on it, Josh?
I feel like they're definitely going to force the Jet. And it's interesting that you say that the meta seems to be revolving much more about Raze, because when you look at the European matches in the tier 2, it feels like there's a lot of Jet happening. Like people are really trying to force Jet everywhere they can, and I think the amount of Breach and Sova, that kind of stuff that's out there, really lends itself to trying to get Jet involved too. Obviously with Breeze being out, that doesn't help, but also with Bind being removed, there are a few maps where there's basically, it's basically split, where I feel like you're forced to be trying to play Raze. But if you wanted to try and move away from Raze on every other map, if cNed can play like a Yoru, or honestly, maybe even with this team, he can play something else, like a non-duelist, like he's ended up playing the Sage a lot previously with Ascend. So I could see him leaning in that direction instead of going towards the Raze, where he plays Jet and then he sometimes also plays Sage for them. And it's more of like that Navi FPX comp where they've cooked up something that is a non-duelist comp where cNed is more a part of the puzzle rather than someone they're setting up for all of the frags. So I think that they're going to be able to force a lot of stuff that's in cNed's comfort territory. And I think as long as their game plans are fairly competent heading in, they're going to be in a good position. I think, though, that's what it entirely revolves around, because I think if they, if instead over the course of the Brazilian tournament, we realize that actually everyone just needs to be playing Raze on like 4 out of 7 of the maps. If that does end up being the case, then this team is not in a great spot for that. I don't think that cNed looked that impressive when he was playing Chamber even, and I haven't been super excited about his Raze, and I can't even remember the last time that I saw him play it. So I think it's about hard forcing Jet and going into cNed's strengths, and he looked decent in the glute clash. There were some glimpses of that like beast player that we've seen before. I think you're really going to see it when he's up against Team Liquid, though. That's going to be the interesting battle, where it's that EU rivalry.
Yeah, I think with this team as well, with cNed being here and probably getting to play that Jet, I think that does open up like Sugetsu to pretty much like always be able to play like the Killjoy or the Cypher, which is a super duper strong and comfortable role for him. I think you can never really doubt the core of this roster in just their individual prowess. We've seen that repeatedly. And I think like if we need to flex some arrays on some maps, Zipan's raise is really pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like you play Zipan into the raise, and then maybe like depending on the map, like if you want to do like the like raise Killjoy comp on like Icebox, you can put cNed playing the Sage there. You could probably flex him onto something else on Split if you want that raise.
Or
I
just
mean,
the
you
Sage
can still
again,
maybe
I
play
feel.
the Sage. Yeah, like I think you can solve a lot of these problems, and you have two players that are really just like absolute expert, like really, really top class players at both the primary duelists that'll be played in this meta. And then that means everyone else just gets to play the roles that they've pretty much always been playing and have looked really good at. And they've also had quite a bit of time to work on their game plans. They have Angel, they have Doom Bros, they have some brainy guys that, remember, are really good at working on short notice. Like at Copenhagen, they were like having to like, oh, plan how to play with this different player. Now we finally have our sub back in. Like they've traditionally been good at making those adaptations. And that's kind of always been like, I guess the ethos of this team with Angel. He wants like everyone to be able to play everything and flex around their comps a little bit. So as long as they can work out something that makes cNed feel comfortable, which I think I have pretty good confidence that they'll be able to do in this meta, I think they'll be really good.
All right. Do you want to take a couple minute break, and then we're going to come back and do our top 10 player list, because that was like 2 hours. Now I want to go to the bathroom. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Yes, we have our top 10 coming up, y'all. Let
You
me
have
put
to
some
speed run it.
tunes in. What's up, Bren?
You have to speed run it, no?
Why? Because Josh has to go play badminton.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to take our time. I think it's up to Josh. I don't know where he is. I think he's in the restroom.
No, I'm still here. I mean, I wanted to get gone like a while back, but I'm fine to just, I mean, at this point, we might as well just do the topic properly.
Okay.
Don't have to speed run it.
We'll try to be better about this in the future. Oh my god. I love royalty-free music. But yeah, I'm the only one that knows what the top 10 is. Is it exactly the same as what we did a month ago? Stay tuned to find out.
That would be very funny.
A little bit of a spoiler is that it's not.
I actually
Mine
took
was
this one
very
seriously.
different.
Yeah, everybody took it
people
seriously.
trolled the previous
Yeah,
one.
I randomized my list last time because it was dumb to do, but this is like players heading into Brazil, I guess. I don't know how that makes it different, but I took it seriously. I went in with a methodology.
Yeah, I looked at all your picks and no one really trolled anything. Y'all took it very seriously this time. And also Bala added his as well. So the top 10 total is from 5 of you. Avast wanted to do a top 20 as well, but he was unavailable. He didn't have enough time. I'm busy. Yeah, thanks for supporting our show. We still have no sponsors for our show. That's crazy. Shout out to anyone that wants to sponsor us. Give us money. And shout out to all the people that are giving us money. Whether you're watching the show or freaking whatever it's called, membered up on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, follow on Twitch, go to YouTube. We don't make any money on Twitch, but we have it because we can sell the followers to sponsors.
I gotta cancel my Netflix subscription.
What? Why do you have to cancel your Netflix subscription?
They just announced the thing that they're doing where you have to sign in on your Wi-Fi to use your Netflix account remotely. Now, like once a month on like a home Wi-Fi setup or something.
Oh, to like combat shared accounts or something?
Yeah,
Dude,
but
Netflix
it's just like
is just whack
it's just
anyway.
a pain in the ass. I'm just not gonna do that. I'm gonna cancel.
Netflix does not have the bangers.
Yeah,
I
they
watched
don't.
some of Arcane. It was pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, though.
Arcane's good.
You watched you've been watching The Last of Us?
No, I've heard it's good though.
Yeah. I never played the game. I'm just watching the show with no
Yeah.
idea what's happening. The last episode, the third episode, was super crazy, dumb, hot fire.
Yeah, I saw people.
The first two
post about
episodes were really good too.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good. Good show. Entertaining show.
All right. Well, I think we're all ready. If we're all ready, we could just get back right into it. Unless we want to just chill for another minute.
We can just wait another minute. It's fine.
Everybody stretch. Get. You have a minute to get a snack. Fill up your water. Take a bathroom break. You know, respond to your mom on text message. She loves you. Shout out to Global Esports. Oh, by the way, did you guys know Rex Regum is like extremely popular? I had no idea.
Yeah, they're enormous.
Like they might be the most popular org in entirety of franchising. And I don't think that's hyperbole.
Yeah, they were like the third biggest in terms of engagement last year.
That's crazy.
Of all esports orgs.
That is nuts.
They're just massive in mobile gaming as well. And yeah, they're the biggest. I think they're the biggest org from the like Philippines Indonesian fan base. They're an Indonesian team, but they have a lot of Filipino players.
All right. Headsets on. We got the headsets on.
Headsets on. Headsets on.
And Josh,
I
FaZe
just canceled my
jumper
FaZe
jumper
just
account.
tweeted, wait, did we forget to announce something?
Did we?
FaZe tweeted that. Wait, did we forget to announce something? That's it. That's the tweet.
oh,
Fantastic.
nice.
They
Well-
remembered they had a team.
Don't announce your roster,
What are
guys.
those sneakers? Wait, what are? What are
Alright,
those?
top 10. Top 10. Let's run up the top 10.
What are those?
What?
All right, let's do the top 10. Okay, so I got distracted for a second there. Let's keep this thing back on track. All right. We have the top 10 players with Lock in Sao Paulo. You know how we do this shit. We have the aggregate lists. We all submit our individual top 20s. These were top 20s. The instructions were, who will be the top 20 players of Lock-in? Now, preface this. I will say this one was pretty tough to do, and I think it's just because of how the tournament structure is.
Yeah.
Because it's just inevitable that some players who are top 20 players overall will not be top 20 players of this tournament because they're playing another really good team early on and they're going to get knocked out.
I ignored that to a degree.
Yeah. I didn't. So mine is kind of crazy.
I didn't really think. I just like looked at the players and I looked at a big list and then I highlighted the ones that I thought were good and then I ordered them.
We were supposed to take this seriously.
I did take it. I did take it seriously.
Well,
No, I
Mimi's-
was really serious. No, that's a serious strategy.
Yeah. My strategy was take the teams I thought would be
I can
in the
hear
semis,
the honesty. Yeah.
list them out, add in teams where I thought the player quality was like insane, but they might have close matches.
Yep.
So and then I sorted them by their roles and ranked the players in the roles.
Yeah.
And then went through each line and picked like, who do I think is the best out of these 5 roles? Like comparing. them to
Actually
one
took
another.
it very seriously.
Yeah.
That is
He's got
very
Josh,
assistants.
did you
serious.
take it seriously as well? I did something similar. I didn't go quite as far with the roles and stuff, but everything you
I
said.
didn't do the roles part, but yeah, I did the rest. I tried to rank them based on the players I actually think will look the best at the end of the tournament. And that's partly because they've got like good results and therefore they were able to show off their skill over more matches. And partly because I think they're just really good players.
Yeah.
But
Basically
also,
same.
but also, we had to leave a lot of really good players off the list. I mean, no matter how you construct this, this is all of the people in franchising. Like, we already did one of those at the beginning of the year and had to leave tons of players off. And this one, also because you're trying to balance, like, who's going to go deeper, is in some sense, like, even more, you ignore even more good players.
Yeah. And also, the one we did earlier in the year was way more jokey and trolly because we were trying to predict who will be the top 20 of the entire year, as if the entire year had already played out, which is nuts. And Bala was number 7. So that one was a little bit more trolly. This one, we put in... we
put in thought.
We
That's
used we used our brains on this because it's no longer the off season. All right. Let's kick this shit off. Top 10. Number 10. Who do we got? Who will be the 10th best player of lock-in. It is Artis from NRG. Fantastic Jet player who has won events before. Now he gets to play with the core that helped make Ye the GOAT. Says Mimi. Artis at number 10. I mean, this is pretty reasonable to me. It's just so dependent on NRG winning their like first game, honestly, and kind of getting some time to actually play the tournament. But if NRG do win their first game, I think this is pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, I actually find it really hard to include any of these players because I feel like they've got a tough like bracket ahead of them to go and run it through. But Artis is so skilled. He's just one of those players that is going to be able to perform. And the mad part is on whatever role you put him on, he finds good areas to show off his individual ability.
Yeah.
However, I feel like the way that you phrase that as, you know, the core that made Ye the GOAT, I feel like Artis was also playing with such an incredibly good team system that made him look supremely good.
That is true.
And he was playing Chamber for the majority of the time where he actually looked insane. And before Artis started playing Chamber, he didn't look this good. That was also before he started playing at LAN as well. But, you know, the time where he was just playing like a shit ton of Sova and that kind of stuff, he looked strong, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we would have had him at that period of time up towards the top of these kind of lists. So I don't exactly know. I think it's a bit of a chicken and an egg kind of situation. I don't know with him going back to some less like hard carry roles, and with the team presumably wanting to structure themselves a little less hard carry with Ye not being there. Is it a real like apples for apples situation? I'm not as convinced.
I would say so. In some ways, I see Artis getting more freedom now that he's on this team compared to the past, where he can really flex, you know, just because the way that they operated, like creating resources just for Ye to use by, you know, Victor running in, creating space, blah blah blah, whatever, using util to really set up Ye. I feel like that would translate really well with Artis getting a bit more freedom.
See, I'm kind of in the middle of those two things because I don't think he'll get the same freedom. Because like you're saying, what I think part of what made Ye look so good was those moments where like you had Victor just like inting in on Neon to like create space for Ye to walk up, get a pick, teleport out, and then like go back in for more. You're not going to be able to do that in the same way if Artis is playing Jet. Presumably Victor is maybe leaning a little bit more into like the flash initiator roles or something along those lines. But I still think that this core is going to build itself in a way where a lot of the emphasis is put on Artis. I don't think it'll be the same element of like hard carriage as when it was Ye, but I still think that with this roster, with like a player like Victor and Crashy's there to support him and help him, he can look really, really strong and be a top 10 player of the event.
You think Artis is going to end up playing a lot of Jet for them in this tournament?
I think so. I think Victor goes to like the KOs and like flash initiators, that kind of thing, and we see Artis more play the Jet.
That's a pretty cool idea, actually. It's not something that I'd put too much thought into in terms of how this team would be playing.
What did you initially thought, that it would like continue to be like Victor playing those kind of roles and Artis flexing to something else, or what?
Yeah,
did you reckon?
with Victor recently adding quite a bit of Jet to his gameplay on Breeze, I thought that Artis would be playing more of like the Sova or Breach, which he's done a lot of in the past, or playing Cypher for them and having FNS play those like Breach roles. So that was more what I envisioned, but actually I think the way that you've described it there on Jet does carry a lot of good points for the team too.
I think I put him in my top 5, mostly kind of banking on that idea being how they wanted to play and NRG making a run.
All right. Number 9. Who do we got? It is Nats. That's a great photo of Nats. It is Nats in number 9. I asked Balla to give me a Nats quote. You were seeing this. That means I forgot to change the asset. Balla. It's a weird quote from Balla.
That is
a strange
Strange
one
one to submit.
That's so meta as well from Balla.
Yeah, I had Nats pretty high on my list. I have Liquid going deep in this tournament. The meta is right for Nats to pop the fuck off. That's really it. I mean, he's still Nats. He still had great showings last year, great individual moments despite Gambit not being at their prime form as a team. And as I just said, the meta's right. Liquid have a good bracket to go deep. He's got opportunities to show that he's one of the best Sentinel players out there. should be a great tournament for him.
I agree.
See, you say that, but I also don't think they go deep. I think they get second rounded by Na'Vi, and it's just over. Like, I don't think I can argue for Artis being in the top 10 and also argue for Nats. I agree with you that the meta's great for him. I agree he's a great player, but I don't have as much faith in Liquid as I do in Na'Vi to make a deep enough run to consider him kind of like topping out the charts as like a top 10. I think I still put him in my top 20 though.
And this is where the Preds actually make quite a big, weighting on where you put people in the top 10, because it does feel like if this, then that can't be as high.
Yeah, I also have in my bracket, I have the goofy fucking Team Liquid beat Na'Vi upset. So I have them going deeper with Nats continuing to be really good. So I have them pretty high up.
If they beat Na'Vi, I think there's a world where they could win their side of the bracket. Like, I think the only teams that are like really close competition for them are like 100 Thieves, Fnatic, and Na'Vi in this bracket.
I also think that it seems like very much a Killjoy meta rather than a Cypher meta. I'm sure Nats will find opportunities to play Viper too, but Viper, Cypher were both fairly big on Breeze, and maybe people are going to be playing Cypher much more on Split. Maybe you can try to play both on Pearl, for example, or neither, but I feel like most of the maps in the pool are trending towards Killjoy, which it just doesn't allow you as much freedom to do the Nats shit that he's used to. So I feel like it might be... It would be pretty cool if we got to see him do all the stuff that we know he's insane at. But I feel like there's a chance that it's just a bit of a boring role for him in reality, because Killjoy's just been prioritized so heavily.
Yeah, that is possible. I could see that, but even still, I think his ability he is playing Killjoy, his ability to lock down sites, like if he's kind of put in positions where he's anchoring a lot of the sites, like he was doing when he was playing Smokes for that period of time, or he was playing Astra, that kind of thing. Like if he's just kind of playing a lockdown anchor thing, I could see him still shutting shit down on defense. But yeah, all right, we can move on to number 8. Who do we got? Number 8 is Bang, and number 8. Goddamn, that is a high placement. I had him pretty high. I'm sure you did too, Josh. Bang is going to be by far the best Smokes player in his bracket until the top 4. Yeah, that's kind of... I'm rolling with that quote, Josh. I think this tournament is going to be Bang on what is it? That's the Omega bracket he's in. I think he'll be the best controller in the Omega bracket, and Mako will be the best controller in the Alpha bracket, if I had to levy a guess. So I have Bang going quite high. It's also just 100 Thieves are at least going to get a couple wins, and I'll be damned if they can't, even if I have them losing to Fnatic, but even if they do lose to Fnatic, surely they're going to make it a close fucking game, and Bang can still turn up in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the matches that are in front of 100 Thieves seem primed to allow their players to dominate and look extremely good. If you're a player of the quality of Bang, where you're on the come up, you keep getting better. Every time we've seen Bang, he's putting up better and better results. The teams that are in front of 100 Thieves seem like they are set up to just get knocked down by somebody like that. And that is just going to make him look even better, because the matches are more one-sided. And I think the actual impact that he has in the game is really high too. I think he's one of the core pieces of why their trading system works so well. So I'm pretty confident about Bang being really good. I actually had him even higher than this, just because I think his weighting is improved by the matches he's got.
I did not take into account that to that degree.
Fair enough.
But I had Bang as the third
Bang.
highest Smokes player, basically, out of all the ones I listed. I put Pancada and Mako above him, but I think this could be the tournament for Bang to really, make his mark, I think, on the scene as a Smokes player.
I had him in 4th place on my list, and he was the 3rd highest Smokes player as well.
Wait, what?
Excuse me? Huh?
I don't know. We'll look at that after. Number 7. We'll look at the individual things after, because I think mine is kind of crazy. You guys can make fun.
Mine is very crazy.
Number 7 is Less.
What a
Sentinel
great
Metaship is
picture.
perfect for Less to be a consistent and great player for Loud. That's a me quote. Yeah, I have Less really high. I think Loud are going to make it deep in the tournament. Pretty much no matter what. I think they're going to make it fairly deep, at least win a few games. And if they win more on top of that, I think he'll be a key piece in that. His Killjoy is super fucking good. Another kind of just situation where I think a lot of these Sentinel player, old Sentinel main Sentinels are going to thrive. But his Killjoy in particular, he was super good. So I got
think
less.
He might be the best
really high
Killjoy player in the tournament. I don't know who I would rank above him. Like, I feel like he's always been so incredibly successful in that role, even after the Killjoy nerfs and like the turret changes, so you can't lurk in the same way. Like the way that Les anchors on the defense and some of the timings he can find, even when he is playing that Killjoy, have just always been really impressive. Maybe you rate someone like FNS up there too. I don't know. I just feel like this guy is
Josh. I was gonna say like Sugetsu.
I
couldn't think of any Killjoy players.
I had Les as the lowest out of all of the Sentinel players that I was ranking, but it was also against. I included Alfia in that category because I think that's what he'll be playing for Fnatic.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have more impact than Alpha. I was having this exact same thought process myself, Brent, even though I didn't necessarily pull it out by role. But I think Les has the awareness and experience to outperform Alpha on the attack side. I think he's going to be doing a lot. I was impressed by what Alpha was doing online, but
he might be better in terms of the roles. But just in terms of this event, I think that with Loud inserting Kawazine and Tuyas into the team, they don't have, in my mind, the best smokes player in the world anymore of Pancada. They don't have the added second voice of Sassy, who was also a great initiator setting them all up. I think that there's more on less to do, and I don't think he's going to have as much space to do it, compared to when they had that really, really sick team. So that's why I had him at the bottom, but I still had him in my top 20 out of 180 fucking players. So he's still like, I still think the guy's sick. I can't be mad that you guys have put him high up in your lists.
Where have you found this clip?
This is a compilation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
All right, number 6. Some very good photos of the players in this one. Number 6, we've got, there he is, it's Sugetsu. Already proven to have elite game since his aim. Now we're moving into a meta that really lets players like him shine. I mean, yep, kind of the same thing. I mean, I'm going to give it to you, but I'm assuming you're going to kind of echo the same less sentiment here.
I think Sugetsu is not only my younger brother, but also the better player. And so he's just, when we were living in the same household, I was always there supporting him, cheering him on. But
that's really brotherly.
He's gonna probably pop off, I think. Now we're seeing Chamber fall out of relevancy a lot more. He's still got the existing core set up around him, core team, with them inserting cNed. When I'm thinking about Na'Vi, I thought about it the same way that you did, Mimi, with cNed playing more of that. That's when we were talking about artists. I mixed it up, but I just think that he's going to be still playing those roles, as hard Sentinel roles. He's a really gifted player individually. The core system that he's built around and that he's part of hasn't changed that much, and their play style, I think, will continue to work really, really well in this meta.
Yep. I mean, yep.
Yep.
I mean, I think we can move on. Number 5, because, this dude's spitting. Number 5 is Mako. Will likely be the best controller of the event and has the best chance to make it deep. That's a me quote. I do think it's going to be between him and Bang, but again, that's kind of rolling with my bracket. I have Fnatic beating 100 Thieves, so I think that DRX will make it further in the tournament and Mako will have more chances to be amazing. So I think he'll still be the best controller for at least this tournament. Is what I'm rolling with here. And there's no evidence going against Mako as like one of the great players of the game. He's just superb. DRX, I think, are destined to make it to the top 4, like no matter what, with that bracket that they're in. And he should just be able to smash everyone.
It's just the combo of like DRX being set up to smoke their bracket, and also Mako's one of those players that feasts on people who like to swing into him. I feel like when I watched him more than a year ago at this point, maybe it was a year and a half ago, I thought he took a few too many fights where he was at a disadvantage. But in the last year, he's just taking all the right fights. People swing into him, he deletes them. He does it with such incredible consistency because his skill is so high. And once you pair that with taking the right fights, he's just got a great sense of like how to support his teammates by being anti-flash, by being in a position where he can swing and trade them, by holding angles for them. It's just, he's the whole package, and he can play whatever, you know, like he's got great helping utility on smokes as well, as you'll see in some of the Astra clips. I had him super high up my list because I think he's just going to look like one of the best players in the tournament because he's going to destroy people in his bracket.
Yep.
Yeah, I always rate Mako, man. This guy's so good on LAN as well. I just think in that environment, he's always consistent. Always super consistent. Definitely up there out of the smokes players. Going
Like
into the event.
particularly like you talked about him being able to play so many different roles, but I think it's just like his Astra that always gets me. Like I think like he's so good at just like quickly like having support utility for his team, but also when he's in a clutch, like the way he balances like using his Astra utility and managing to like isolate people with it, it's just always really impressive to me. This guy is great. Good player.
Number 4. He is a good player. That's something I can agree with that. I can get behind
I'm
that.
glad.
Number 4 is Leo. That's a great picture. Leo will be the standout initiator player at lock-in. Always has been the best player on every team he's on. This might be crazy, guys, but I have him even higher than this. Am I the only one?
What do I have him?
I
had him almost exactly here.
I had him around here.
I have him very high.
Yeah.
Because again, I have Fnatic going all the way. Leo was, for me, he was a fucking beast at LAN previously with Guild. He is the full package of an initiator player. He can take over the game individually. He has the mechanical skill to do so. His utility for himself is always excellent. He knows how to play off of it very well. And he's great at setting up his teammates, using it in a way to assist and enhance the performance of the players around him. He is just the full package player for me.
Yep.
And the fact that he was so good on LAN with Guild, I just have maxed out confidence for this dude heading into this event with such a crazy roster.
No, I mean, I echo everything you're saying, and I just think that there's a lot of initiator players, they struggle sometimes to understand like timings and things like that. It feels like it just comes natural to a player like Leo when you watch him in terms of setting up his team, but also when his team falters, which happens, the initiator players are often not going to be the first ones in. They're going to be left to sometimes pick up the pieces. Leo's so good mechanically, so gifted in this one role that he's usually good for it. Like the guy is usually good for it when he's put in that hard position of having to, play 3v5 or whatever the situation is. He's usually good for it. And now he's joined a super team. Like I said in the quote that usually the best player, and he's been the best player on every team he's been part of. Probably not the case on Fnatic, considering the quality of players there. You can make an argument for maybe that not being the case, but also I think you can make an argument that maybe is the case, that he's still the best player on Fnatic somehow. So
We'll have to see, yeah.
Yeah, it's this guy is I'm expecting him to be a standout in Brazil.
I think he'll just have so much space as well to be the late round clutcher. There's no one else on the team. I mean, maybe Alfie will start trying to do that a bit more because he's on the Sentinel role. But when you watch Alpha play, even when he's on Killjoy, he's like bullying his way into places and trying to take angels and like creating space, or not even creating space so much as like creating a distraction in a different space. When he was playing Killjoy, I'm always thinking back to like when he was playing Killjoy with Fnatic on Icebox. And although that comp works a little differently, he would, be muscling his way into areas rather than just, sneaking in or playing the late round clutch. So I think that Leo will have a lot of that late round clutch opportunity when, if he wants to take it, he could play in that way. And I think he's got all the talent to be able to pull out some massively important rounds for them.
Yeah. And I'm just excited because we've never seen Leo in like a true top tier 1 team. I mean, he's always just been amazing on these teams that are struggling to make it through playoffs, so it'll be cool. All right, number 3. We are into the top 3. And it is Cryo Cells. Number 3. Damn, bro. He's got the Vandal in real life. Crazy. Champions proved, is that an iPhone 11? Champions proved he can be great internationally. Now this is a tournament. He can prove to be the best. Is a quote from Mimi. ... Yeah, pretty reasonable. I mean, again, kind of what we were saying earlier. Well, Mimi, you can just take it away.
Yeah, I mean, Cryo has always been such an impressive player. I think, like, if we're just talking, like, raw individual, like, skill, at times, I feel like he's even been more impressive than Ye when we were in that chamber meta. Now we get a switch on over to kind of more of, like, a Jet Raze thing, where I'm presuming he'll be able to play a lot of Jet, which I actually thought looked better than his chamber when he used to get to play a lot of that role. I think 100 Thieves around him is a really fantastic team that sets him up for success, particularly the way that like he plays with Asuna. It gives him a lot of potential to get these big openings for the team. And I expect that to continue, especially since 100 Thieves is postured, I think, to make a very, very deep run in this tournament.
Yep. I mean, that's 100 Thieves are just guaranteed to get a few wins. And it's kind of just a question of, in those games, which 100 Thieves player will just smash the other team and get all of the stats and credit. It's going to be one of them.
Bang,
Who's it going to be?
Asuna? Who is it today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a bit of trolling with my cryocells placement because to me, I this whole offseason I've had in my head, like, this guy's going to be a beast. He's just going to slot in perfectly. He's going to be amazing. And then for some reason, the shadow of doubt crept into my mind as I started doing this. And I just thought, okay, but what's he actually going to be playing? Because I was on the same wavelength as you, Wyatt, thinking there's probably going to be a lot of Raze being played. Like, that's the way that the meta seems like it should be going. And then I started thinking, okay, well, we don't exactly know how good Cryo's going to be on that. Is he actually going to be as good as he was when he was playing the Jet and the Chamber? Can I guarantee that when there's such fantastic players that he's playing against and he's competing against to get these spots in the top 20? So I did a little bit of trollery and just shunted him like quite a way down the list compared to where my gut feeling is for this guy, because my gut feeling is still up here, but I rationalized myself a much lower placement on the list. And then I was watching, I was looking at some of the stats for just how much some of the other regions were, like the tier 2 regions were using different agents, and there's still so much Jet being played. So I really feel like I've just trolled myself here because because Cryo's just going to play Jet and he's just going to feast. So yeah, honestly, he's at the number 3 position right now, and I've done him a disservice by dragging him down the list. And I just want to apologize before my list comes up because I've done a bit of trolling.
I had him a
worse,
bit
don't
lower
worry.
than this. I still had him top 10, but I had him a bit lower. But for me, that was down to I have Fnatic going deeper than them. So that played a big part for me. But
By the way,
yeah, we'll take a look at those after.
I got
Saying?
silly. He was number 1 on my list. I'm fucking gambling on this guy. He's gonna go.
I mean,
double
I don't
crazy
think
at this
that's
event.
yeah. I don't think that's crazy. I really don't. All right, number 2. Number 2 is Durka in
Durkee.
number 2. Jet meta Durkee time, says Mimi. I mean, yeah, we were just talking about it. Look at this unplanned segue. We're just talking about the Jet meta. Yeah, do you want to take this one away as well, Mimi?
Sure.
Here's
I'm
your
just going
quote.
to bat chest about more duelist players. Yay! He's really good at shooting his gun. He gets to play Jet. It's pretty much the same thing I was talking about Cryo. Like, he's pretty much playing in a super team now who will set him up a lot. In previous Jet metas, he has looked insane. We're back to another opportunity where he can do it. He can also play Raze, and he's solid at that agent. Or he can flex off and let Alpha play that agent. I don't know. I just have a lot of confidence in this guy's abilities. I think he's a very good player. Yet again, that's my high class duelist analysis. They shoot their guns good. They play the Jet agent.
Yeah, I think that he's a player where I'm not worried about his Raze at all. If the team needs that, not in the slightest worried about his Raze. I also think that he's got a better assist duo now. If you're talking about the people that are going to be directly setting him up, it's probably going to be Leo and Chronicle. And I have massive faith in those guys to make Durka, shine. And also, he didn't perform as well at LAN during the chamber meta as he did online. But that's the only time in Durka's history, and he's been at so many LANs now. I think he's been at like 5 different LAN events or something. And I think it's just one LAN event, really, of like Copenhagen, where he didn't perform to the level that you would have expected. In most of the other events, he goes kind of crazy. And especially when he's on Duelist, he just is so good at finding those like intuitive moments to push people and test them. And I think that is going to be a massive win condition for Fnatic. Even though I've got Fnatic going out 200 Thieves, I think that game's going to be so close and such a banging match. And he's going to have, already been playing against Sentinels and, the other teams that are on the path there, that I think even if he goes out in the top, what would that even be? Is that the top 8?
Yes.
Even if the team goes out in the top 8, I still think that he would be considered one of the best teams one of the best players at the tournament. He's done that before as well, right?
Yeah.
Like his team's gone out early, but he's still been rated as one of the highest.
Yeah, I mean, I echo all the same sentiment for sure. Like when we did the previous list, and just at that time when I was thinking about the Fnatic team, I was so concerned with the beef narrative of the Fnatic on LAN. But then just the more I pondered and looked at the bracket and filled it out and really came to my actual thinking thoughts about what would happen in the teams, I've just really swung to being on the Fnatic train. And I think especially in this meta, and with Durka in particular, with the Duelist being back to him being able to play the Raze and the Jet full time, thinking about his time on those agents versus Chamber, I actually really prefer him on those agents significantly. And I especially think his Raze, I don't know if it was underrated, but maybe it was underrated. But I think his Raze was really top notch, and I think Fnatic were always one of the teams that was excellent at setting him up, more so than other teams were at setting up their Raze players. I think they were so good at that, and always kind of on the cutting edge of how to use aggressive utility on attack to put your Raze in position to getting entry kills. And so with Durka just theoretically being able to play Raze and Jet full time, and with the quality of support players on that team and the ideas they've had previously on how to set him up in those positions, I feel like he should be able to just fucking farm at this event. I really think that this Fnatic team should just be set up to be fucking crazy, man. So yeah, I'm rolling. This is actually exactly where I had Dirk on my list. I had him at number 2. All right, number 1. Who is the aggregate number 1? I really have no idea. Oh, it is Ospas in number 1. Man, I wish I was one of Ospa's stuffed animals. Sometimes I dress up as a fox and prance around my room. That's a Sideshow quote.
Yeah, except when you say that's a Sideshow quote.
You are a nasty
That wasn't
little
a Sideshow
man,
quote.
Josh.
No, that's not.
That sounds like you. You
I can't believe
nasty
you
little man.
submitted that.
That's not what I
crazy.
submitted in the slightest. Not even by a country mile. I don't dress up as a cute little fox, and I don't want to be one of Asapas's stuffed animals.
I mean, 50% of that is verifiably true. You do. I've seen you dress up as a fox and prance about. I've seen it.
Sometimes. Only sometimes. Only for special occasions.
I'll speak for Aspas here.
I mean, who put him at number 1?
I did not put him at number 1.
Who put him at number
he was
1?
in my.
He was
No
in my
one
top
put
10.
him number 1.
Who did?
No one did. But
Oh,
he was
he
high
just-
on
Oh,
everyone's
he
my
was
list.
just so high for everybody. Okay, interesting.
I think
He was 4 for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to see him play the Jet in front of the Brazilian crowd. I think it's highly likely that in the games that he has on Loud over this tournament, whether they go far or not at all, I think this guy's just going to pop the fuck off. I think he's going to showcase and really flex and showcase what he can do. Because when he was really free flowing on the Jet, man, this guy has looked amazing at times. And so I didn't have him up there as the highest duelist player that I ever ranked, but he was up there. I mean, I think I had him second out of the duelist players that I ranked. So
I think his placement being number 1 via aggregate speaks to the fact that we're all confident that he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
We're not all confident that he's going to be the best, but we're all for every other duelist player, or frankly every other player, there's got to be some people who are like not on the hype train to some degree. You know what I mean? Whereas with Aspas, you just know that you're going to be getting solid to extremely good performances out of him. And it doesn't really matter who the opponent is too. So I think that just speaks to the consistency and the level of like trust you have in the ability of Aspas to perform.
Yeah, absolutely. Always mega consistent. Again, being able to just
Jet,
play
Raze.
Raze and Jet. Yeah, these guys who play Raze Jet at a high level both are really going to thrive, I think,
Yeah.
and lock in this first portion of the year, and he's definitely one of them. And Loud are pretty much, I think Loud are a shoo-in to make it at least to like that top 8. Yeah, I think that like you said, Josh, just not being rated number 1, but everyone having him so high to give him to number 1 really just speaks to the consistency of the man. All right. Let's take a look at the individual lists.
Oh, no.
My list was so different to what we got for the final top 10. It was so fucking
Let's take a look at yours, Bren. We'll start with Brennan Hook.
Yeah, because I took the pool of players for players I'd expect to be in the top, the top 8 teams, basically. And then I just added in teams that I thought the quality of the players, even if they might go out early. So what I ended up with is like a bunch of quality players on Sentinels high up on my list and Fnatic players high up on my list, even though there's only going to be one match played.
Actually, we should take a look at the full aggregate list first, right? And see the top 20, and then we'll go to Bren. I forgot we have that. All right, boom. We got the full aggregate list, and then we'll make fun of you, Bren. So we know the top 10, and then in 11th, we have Shao, 12th, Ye, 13, King, 14, Chronicle, 15, Stacks, and then from there, Sodhawk, Asuna, Takalia, Zekin, and cNed rounds it out at 20. And then just outside of that, top 20 is Pancata, 21st. I mean, a bunch of just fucking heavy hitters on heavy hitters on heavy hitters.
People did not have faith in Sentinels, did they? The amount of points that some of these Sentinels players
No, I had none of the Sentinels players in mind because I just think Fnatic are going to win. And even though players on Sentinels in just an overall generalized sense are in the top 20, for this tournament, I just have Fnatic winning. So there's just no way you can put players in who lose the first game.
It's going to make the top 20 sound... Because there's going to be so many upsets, because there is, because it's a single in bracket. It's going to make the top 20 stupid when we look back at it. Because some of the players will have just got out first round.
We are definitely going to review these after the tournament.
It's going to be like that Pick'ems that was made at the beginning of the year that is already just the worst thing ever. Or the tier list of the franchise teams that is already just... Ugh.
I mean, I had... because I had no Sentinels players on mine. I also had no NRG players on mine. So it's just... I mean, it's just ridiculous in that way. But... anything crazy here in this list? Honestly, King being 13 is
kind of crazy, right?
That's pretty high.
Dude, you want to see where I put King?
I do want to see where you put King if he's in 13th. You had King in 3rd.
What? You were the sole person who weighted King up there.
Wow.
Dude, I'm fucking telling you. Leviathan are going on an insane run, and King is going to look like a beast. He played like a fucking freak at Champions. He was one of the best players we had at the entire event.
Oh my god, I'm stupid. I thought you meant the Gen.G King, and I thought you were out of your mind. But there's too many kings.
Yeah,
there's
too
many
kings
in Valorant.
But why would I be rating the Gen.G King?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Then I was like, oh, I'm stupid. He means Leviathan. Oh, fuck.
No, I mean Leviathan. I feel like King is going to go dumb crazy. He was an IGL. He was fragging out of control. He's got other people to fill in. He's going to be playing some of the Duelists, some of the Vipers, some of the whatever. But it feels like whatever he touched, he was gold on. And that was when the team was still having a bit of struggles. I think this is me going heavy in the Leviathan stonks, obviously. But I think if Leviathan got on the same run that I'm expecting them to, or hoping that they do, then I think King will be one of the biggest reasons behind it, as will Taco Leo, which is why I've got Taco at 8th as well.
I respect it. I had King on my top 20 because, like you said, the guy's just an absolute demon. Like, he was 19th, right? But still, it's 19 out of 185 players or whatever it is. Like, still pretty up there. I kind of just ignored where I thought teams, like I said, I pulled from the pool and just ranked based on where I thought the players were against players in their role and also against everyone else who's also the top of their role. So, I mean, the way I did it, like, I had Artis as the best primary duelist player in my head coming into the event compared to everyone. Just, I think that he'll be unlocked in the system that he's playing in NRG. And then he was competing with Zekin in the flex position, and Sugetsu in the Sentinel position, who I thought would be the best in that role. Pancata and Smoke, so I think will look the best in Brazil. And then Leo for Initiators. And so I just
this is super high on Sentinel stocks, really, isn't it?
I just didn't even take that into...
kind of...
I didn't take this into account, right? I just thought it would be a shame for those players to be left off the list entirely just because, you know, I might expect one team to go the other way. But the one thing that we did see from Sentinels that I thought was really just clear cut was that Sassy and Pancada still the real deal. When it was those two left in a fucking 2v whatever situation at the Tarek Ludwig event, dude, they were on top of it, man. Those guys were on point, and I think that with even more time, that quality is still going to shine through, but the team's going to look even better as well.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't have them on my list though. We can look at mine. I mean, mine is very much so Preds based. I mean, because I have.
Dude, that is crazy.
Okay. I put a little asterisk on these Koi players because if Koi win, I have 3 Koi players in the top 20.
Holy
but if
shit.
NRG win, I have 3 NRG players in the.
Because you just think whoever wins makes it through to top 8.
Yes,
and so
genuinely.
you get like 3 good games from them.
Yep.
How does that get calculated?
Absolutely. That's essentially what it is. Because I was looking, I'm like, dude, I want to put Artis and Crashies and Victor, matter of fact, on the list, but I can't. But because I have Koi winning that game. Also, I think Wolfen is going to go on a fucking tear. I know it seems silly now, but just you wait until Koi win the game and they make a little fucking run through the bracket. Wolfen mechanically is a fucking beast. He gives me Giga Chad energy. I think he's going to fucking pop if Koi make it deep. And if they don't, that's why I have the NRG players there to save face. And I also, I'm rolling with the Fnatic dub, and I'm also rolling with Leo being the fucking man. So I have him in first and Durka number 2. Because I think Leo, like I said when the rating came up, but I think, you know, he's excellent at supporting his teammates. He's going to be a guy putting Durka in position to succeed. And if he's a guy who's around in the late rounds, like you were saying, Josh, just in general, his actual individual performance is so good. And he's never had a shot to be on a title contending team. I think he's going to be on point in this tournament. I also have Loud going deep, so I have Auspis really high, mega consistent, DRX going deep, Mako really high. I have Stax in there in the top 10. I think DRX are obviously they're making a run. Stax is so consistent at these international events. He kissed his mouse. He's a fucking alpha male. I have all the Fnatic players really high. I barely left Alfier off this because I just genuinely, I don't think he's going to, I think he'll be good, but he won't really have to do that much necessarily. I think like Durka, Leo, and Chronicle, that trio is just going to be
Did anyone
so outrageous.
have Sadak in their list?
Yeah,
I left him just off.
Okay.
I had him just on like, I think I had him in like 22 or something.
You did? You had
I had
11?
Sadak really high up my list.
I had
because
really high.
I feel like Sadak, if Loud does well, and if they, which I think they might well do, I think so much of that is going to be based on Sadak, his leadership, his development of the other talent. I think his performance in game is always really high. And I think that the way that he in-game sets up Aspas and also plays with the other newer players, like if you imagine the way that he used to play with Pancada, there's a lot of the like team synergy that comes from him, and I think if Loud do well, it'll be a lot, you know, on his back for having kind of
he's so underrated
fixed that system back up again.
Like I really do think that, man. His initiator is so fucking good in the prior Loud system, and like you said, he's the veteran talent now here. He's going to be
glue
leading the
guy
pack.
for sure in this team now.
I mean,
even if he wasn't before, which you could argue he was.
He is excellent, but in my mind, I left him just off the list because while I have Loud making a deep run, I have Osmos really high. I have Less just a little bit below in 6th, and I wanted to throw Kamazine on the list because I think if they make a deep run, and if he's able to kind of focus on his individual game, I think he will really show up in this tournament. And individually, I was just thinking about performance. I wasn't taking IGLing and leadership into account. If I did, I would have definitely put Sadak on the list. But I think with this team, he's going to have to really be putting his focus on that. And the other guys individually are going to be the ones showing up more so with their, you know, game in the server, with what we're seeing in the server, if that makes sense. So that's why for me he was just off the list. But we want to look at Mimi's.
I ruined this for everyone else. I want to
What
talk about
the
the rationale.
fuck is
I want to
this?
talk about this for a second. So I ended up retconning it this morning because I realized how fucking stupid this was. So this isn't what I finally decided on, but I want to talk through some of the rationale on probably the craziest thing that you guys have ever seen, and probably the stupidest thing that you guys have ever seen. So first of all,
This is just like every big name that plays Duelist in
Only
one
Duelist.
list. This is just like clout Duelist list.
So, essentially what I did is I started things off by looking at the top 10. I didn't care about the bottom part. That was all a different
What
ideology that
happened
I
to
went
the no
behind that.
trolling stipulation? Kurt specifically said no.
He didn't tell me no trolling. I didn't get that message. I didn't get the memo, guys. And
I
this is
did.
super serious. It's super serious, and there was no trolling involved.
There's
here.
a copy-pasted
I
message.
started off. Was there? All right, I didn't read that. So let's start off by talking about what happened in the top 10 here. So what we're looking at here is teams that I thought could actually make a deep run.
of the number one
Who gets the
podcasts.
most kills on a team? The Duelist, generally. Who has the most clout on a team? The Duelist, generally. So we balance those two factors, and we put them we put them into our top 10 there, and we build that up. That looks great. And now here's the thing. The rationale for 11 to 20, very different. What we do here is we think what teams are probably going to get owned in the first round, but might get a couple games and might have a player that pops off and we remember. And then we put those players in for that section. And then
So
bada bing, bada
11
boom,
to
we have
sorry.
the
So
best-
11 fucking I've run over my headphone monitor and everything. So 11 to 20 is players that only play one game and get shit
maybe
stomped.
2, maybe 3. Here's the thing. It's single
Paddy
limits.
Penn's
It's coin
playing
flip.
0
Anything could
games.
He's on the
happen.
bench.
Paddy Penn's
not
not
going.
playing. He's on the bench.
And
had
you have
forgotten that
Saya
at the
player
time.
19.
But if you guys want to get some refreshments, I did fix the list. I
SK
thought that the
Rossi.
fixed list would update for the points, but I have a more reasonable list as well. Curtis, I don't know if you have that one, the Watergate changed list as well, which should be in that original Google document for you.
I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah. So I've lost my mind in the last week, but I do have one that's
Wait, so there's a real list. That was
But
a prank.
that was the list that counted for points.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of trolling is what happened. You know,
Unreal.
some days we make mistakes, but the good news is we're in the
We are losing
21st
our
century, and we have
credibility
Chat
so
GPT to write
fast.
apologies for
I
us.
I think you guys
So,
think
I'll
I
get
like
working on
know
it.
super crazy programming, so if you just change stuff without telling me, it's just gonna auto update all of the assets and all of the backend stuff that I create. I don't. I know
thought you were
like
a
basic
cyborg,
HTML. I customized my MySpace page a little bit when I was like
Holy
15.
shit.
That's all I know. So, yeah, I
Did you just?
Oh,
Did you not
God.
tell Kurt or?
no.
Well, some mistakes were made, but you
Get
know
us
what?
outta
We live
here.
and we learn.
Get
We live
us
and we
outta
learn.
Our credibility.
But here's
Yeah,
the thing:
dude,
I'll
our
look really
credibility
smart if one of those
is
teams
in
ends
the
up winning, and then I
fucking
act like it was a
toilet.
super cool list.
Get us out of here.
I mean, Balla made one.
Balla's
Oh, all right. Let's all make fun of him. He's
Balla
not
palette
here.
cleanser. Balla palette cleanser.
Let's see what Balla did. Let's make fun of him. The only justification I will give you to give them is I made my list based off what I predict the actual results to be. Okay, so that's
That's what everyone did apart from me, right?
and Mimi.
Well, Mimi was like taking
Mimi
I was
fucking
lost in the sauce,
mushrooms or
guys.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
licked the psychedelic toad before making the list. Balla has Sugetsu number 1, so Balla's got Navi going deep, winning something like that. He had him winning,
Loud
I think.
deep as well.
Yeah, he had Navi winning if I remember correctly. Mako
I
going
actually
super
think
deep.
this is pretty
or
good.
Mako number 2 makes sense. Osbos number 3, Les number 4, Cryo number 5, Leo number 6, Zippen number 7, Bang, Shao, Chronicle. That's the top 10. I mean, honestly, this looks kind of based to me.
There's some.
I think 11 through 20 gets a little bit lost in the sauce there. Like we have a kind of a Twistin and a Heat gamble in there, which I don't know if I'd expect that to come through, but maybe a
Tens
little bit of a
gamble in there as
Scream
well.
and a Tens gamble. Like it seems like Balla went almost a little bit similar to my 11 to 20 strategy, where he was just like, these players might have a deeper run and might pop off, and we can get that going. But there's also some legitimate good ones in there. I like King in the top, like almost top 10.
Yeah. I mean, he has Twistin in 15th. I think that's kind of based low-key. I mean, Vitality are at least going to win like 2 games, or should win 2 games.
I think they'll look good.
Yeah.
So Twisted should have a solid performance. Screaming in there I think that does make sense. Honestly, at 16th, Carmine Corp are going to win 1 game, maybe 2 games. Most likely just 1 game.
Yeah.
And Scream will farm.
It wouldn't have changed anything, but I would have added more Vitality players to my list, I think, after giving them a proper look. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Destrian is a fucking goated initiator player. Like that
I was
guy
thinking
has,
about putting Sender on my list, actually. I nearly had him sneak into the top 20.
I think
he's the best player
Destrian's
on the
going to
team.
be nuts. Like his ideas for timings as an initiator player has only gotten better from when I last watched him. And that was fucking, the VOD I was watching is ancient, so God knows how he's going to look now, but.
Ball's got Buzz at 18th. Did anyone else put Buzz on their list?
I
had
put
Buzz
him
at
in my top 20,
14th.
I
Buzz
think.
was my 17.
Okay. I had him just miss out on mine. I think I had him like 24th, 25th, something like that. Just
18.
outside of it. I'm assuming Buzz is going to be playing a whole lot of Killjoy at this event.
Yeah, I think so. Which is sad, really. I mean, dude.
Why is he going to be playing Killjoy?
Because RB's
Because
going to
that's
be
what they
playing
did
Duelist,
last time.
and Buzz
You
was
really
previously
think
playing
they're
KJ.
not going to put RB on Sentinel?
No, I mean Buzz has been playing Sentinel. I don't see why.
RB's
They've
the
also
Neon
had
player.
RB play Sentinel in the past. It might be kind of like a ping pong thing. Like if it's a Neon map, you play RB. If it's a Jet map, you play Buzz.
What about Rays?
I guess.
'Cause if you-
Buzz, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm hoping they just heavy commit to Buzz, but I don't know. The recent games where we saw them play in their show match games and stuff as well, they had people swapping around, really.
They're trolling in that.
There's trolling in a lot of them, yeah.
I'm just going off the assumption that Buzz is going to be primary duelist.
I would love that.
That's what I was hoping for as well. But
I don't think that's going to happen, which is why I didn't have him on mine. Just barely. I mean, I think it's just going to be, you got Mako, you got Stacks. You're fine. That's all you need in the top 20. You're fine. All right. I think that seals the deal. Are we all? How do you guys feel about the overall aggregate list?
Shit.
I mean, it's all right.
I don't think it's that bad. It's not the worst.
I don't think it. I would give it like a 6.3 out of 10.
It's not the worst we've done.
It's so
think. You
based
say
on
that every
Preds
time.
that it's just crazy.
It's not the worst.
Nah,
I think it's
surely
no.
not.
I think it's not. It's not that bad. It's not.
Surely not
It's
the
not that bad.
worst.
It's not that bad.
No, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. It's okay.
I think the top 10 is pretty good. I think when we get lower into like the 11 through like whatever, it's always going to get crazy because some of us are always going to like kind of make a gamble on a player making a deep run or something, or I'm going to troll my entire predictions. But I feel like the top 10 normally ends up being pretty solid. And I think most of those are pretty reasonable punts to believe in. I'm trying to think, is there any like big player that got like completely left out of this like aggregate
Yay.
top 20?
I mean,
Ye's
yeah,
12,
Paper X
which
players
is low,
and
but he's in there.
Yeah, well, I guess Ye got 12.
I mean,
didn't-
Ye is
Paper X players,
definitely
yeah.
the lowest. Ye is definitely the lowest compared to where you would have put him.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
in any tournament
in
of last year.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the biggest reason is he might just go out first round.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not even an indictment on Ye as a player or anything. It's just like there is a good chance he goes out to Paper X, and if he doesn't, there's a good chance he goes out to DRX. They're like, even if it's a coin flip, the first one, if it's a coin flip and then they're like 40%, which is being pretty kind to them, they have a 20% chance of making it through both of those games. So that's really unlikely, which is why he's down so low. It's not because he's bad.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. All right. Weekly award, and then we're going to get out of here.
It's all good. I gotta get this award to the compound. I gotta get to the Plat compound right now. Oh, shit. No! Shit. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That award's broken.
Oh,
That's
the
where it
award for
went.
best storytelling in an awards ceremony goes to.
I was looking for the award, and then I realized that
gone.
it's in the trash. It's in a landfill somewhere.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus. All right, this week, the weekly award. I'm gonna give it to. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing this right, but it's like Darkseio, the 14-year-old that's reached #1 Radiant. That's just pretty crazy. I thought about giving it to Cody Rhodes, the winner of the Royal Rumble, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give it to someone who actually plays Valorant, which is Darkseio. That is pretty nuts, though. The new generation, the new cNed. You know what I mean?
cNed.
The new and improved Charles Ned rising the ranks. But yeah, that is pretty insane.
That is nuts. Yeah. When I was 14, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, no. When I was 14, I was playing on CP Orange X and like playing Scout and just only holding W. Didn't know
I was
how to use
playing
my keyboard.
Workout on CS:GO over and over again. and yeah, that was what I was doing.
You were the specialist.
I was a
ranking
specialist on that map. Yeah, Workout.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest. I was the best quickscoper in Black Ops 2 at 14.
Okay.
Dominated NA Central servers.
I heard that he's been
That's
on Minnie's radar since he's been 4 years old. The last 10 years, Minnie's just had him on his radar, wondering if he could pick him up. As soon as he turns 18, he's on Fnatic.
Oh boy. All right.
Congratulations.
I'm sending this thing home. Thank you guys for watching. Episode 122. 22. We will see you for episode 123. Leave a YouTube comment. Damn, Josh is showing off those soft,
He's got to get to badminton.
thighs.
I've got to get to badminton, man.
All right. Bye, everybody. It's badminton time. Bye.